Look who it is. He's back. He's back and he's gonna party like there's no tomorrow. I don't know. Welcome in, folks. How's everyone doing? Hope you're all having a good day. My name is Pixlriffs. Welcome to a Minecraft live stream. It's Thursday. Hope everyone knows what that means. Don't know what it means, just I hope you know. Hope you know, because I don't, apparently. Here we are. And we already have 5 gifted subs from G the B. Thank you so much for those 5 gifted. Folks in the chat, as always, if you get gifted a sub during the stream, please make sure you thank these very generous sub gifters. Yes, in front of a live studio audience. Here we are. David is getting dressed. Yes, welcome to the David changing room. Today we're going to be working on decorations for David and figuring out what on earth it's going to look like. And basically just babysitting some copper while it ages as well. But we might also get up to some other bits and pieces. I have been doing some building. And I've got a good video coming out probably tomorrow if I can get it edited. But I've got a bunch of different fun little interactions with people and stuff. Blondie, thank you for the 33 months. The message was supposed to be on this. Well, there you go. You get 2 messages in chat today. So here we go. Give David a red carpet. We will see. We'll see if we can roll out the red carpet. So yeah, yesterday, for folks who didn't see it on Twitter, and I posted it on my Instagram story as well, I went out for coffee with the ruler of Chromia and the Witch of the Evermore. Scott and Shelby were just, you know, in town, so we all met up for coffee. It was really nice, and yeah, had a lovely time catching up with them. I was the last person that Scott had to meet before he'd met all of the Empire's people in person. Obviously now with the Hermits on the server, it's a bit different, but all of the OG Empire's crew, including Pearl. So it's very fun. 3rd of November, the day of celebrating sandwiches. November 5th falls on a Saturday this year, which means that the Bonfire Societies are going to have a great time. Looking forward to the fireworks as long as we don't get a really rainy Saturday night. But my house actually has a nice view that I can like look out over the neighborhood and see where people are letting off fireworks. So that'll be quite fun. Scene in Mulan where the guy shakes hands with the Emperor. Yeah, I'm never good with like selfies. Like I feel like my face is a lot better animated, you know, a lot better in motion than it is in pictures. So I never quite know what face to do. So I just went, and that was it. I can't do like a normal natural smile in photos. I'm bad at it. But yeah. Well, anyway, let's get into it. Let's go hop on Empires and see who's still around. I know Pearl is probably still live. Joe is probably still live. We got a lot of people online today. So Gem, Impulse was AFK for a while. I think he's back now. Joe, Mythical Sausage, Ollie and Pearl are still streaming together, I think. And I'm muted for now in voice chat, but I'll still be able to hear anybody if they decide to roll on by. And we have a hype train going. Dr. Becquerel, thank you for the 4 months. C-Dubs with the 100 bits. A lot of fun watching since Season 1 of Survival all the way up to the new fun I'm having. Have an awesome stream. Thank you so much. So I have a little bit of cleaning up to do, because... oh, wait, no, I did all of that stuff. This is what I'm doing. This is one of the things I want to do. I'm going to go and get a mending book from the villagers that I have over there, because I don't want to bother anybody right now. The Hermits are in the process of like centralizing all of their stuff, and so I don't think it's quite set up where I want to go over and like nick one of their mending villagers or something. But I need to get a mending book for a set of shears, and I want to get efficiency 5 on some shears and have mending and unbreaking, because I already have an unbreaking 3 book, so that I can do like really fast glow lichen. That's like my main goal right now, is to have lots of glow lichen, because I'm doing more building and I need a lot of glow lichen for that. Ollie and Pearl are hilarious. They always are. Like, Ollie's just hilarious and Pearl's very, very funny. So, I think they make a good duo. They bounce off each other very well. False has many moves if she's around. I think she was AFK a second ago, and I'm not sure what she's up to, so I don't really want to bother her. But I went to the book shop on the bridge, and it seems like mending is all out. I assume it's in pretty popular demand with the Hermits all needing new gear and stuff. So, yeah, I'm just going to come over here to this guy. It's not a big deal. When will I post more Survival Guide? Once the Hermit collab thing is done. So, probably not until New Year at this point, I'd expect. But I don't know how long the Hermit thing is really going to go on for. But they're clearly here for a while. I expect the entire month of November, at least, will be tied up with this, if not longer. So, yeah, not until New Year, I'd expect. But, yeah, the whole reason Survival Guide has taken a back seat recently is because I've been prioritizing Empires because I knew this was coming and I've been preparing for it, basically. But, frankly, I would rather do that and make sure I commit myself to this wholeheartedly than, like, put half my effort into both series, if that makes any sense. I'm going to grab some carrots while I'm here as well, because these guys trade me the good carrots. Where are the farmers? Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. There's one. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, of course, they're not 1 emerald for 3 carrots like some of the other guys are. Yes, I know the Hermits have a mending villager, but so do I, so who cares? Doesn't matter who has the mending villager as long as I get a mending book. That's the important part. Shax, thanks so much for the 25 months. Tier 3, you missed the 24-month one. No worries. Thank you so much for the 2 years. BFSB, thank you for the 23 months. Ravenfire Gaming with 5 gifted subs. We're on level 2 hype train right now, folks. Safe to say the ancient capital didn't have home insurance. In what sense? I mean, if the insurance company falls into ruin, you can't exactly collect, you know? The entire thing is a ruin. It's not just like, oh, some of the houses, you know? Society collapsed at a certain point. Anyway, where are we with enchantments? Because I need to get a couple of efficiency 4 or an efficiency 5 book. Bane of Arthropods? Boo. Get it out of here. Loyalty? No. Piercing? Also no. Lure? Fortune? Nah. Efficiency 4. There we go. Got one of those. Efficiency should come up, in theory, quite frequently because you need it for everything. Like, all the tools use it. It's like Unbreaking. Don't really want efficiency 1. Depth Strider 3 is always nice, but I have a couple of those. Piercing. Efficiency 1. We could combine those, but I don't really want to make this shears the most expensive thing ever. Channeling. Aqua Affinity. Looting 2. Get one of those, put it on the sword. The sword has looting 2 for ages. Okay, not too bad. We'll get efficiency and looting over there, and then we'll just grindstone each of these. I remember a time when the books you got back from the grindstone wouldn't stack with other books, and that was a nightmare. I'm so glad they fixed that. Power 4. I've already got power 5 on the bow. Efficiency 2 isn't really worth keeping. We're just going to get efficiency 4 in a second anyway. Could combine those two if we really wanted to. Unbreaking is almost worth keeping. Protection 4? Do I need protection 4 on anything? No, we're good. There we go. There's our other efficiency 4. Oh, we got Unbreaking 3 on that one for free. Nice. So I don't need the Unbreaking 3 book I've got here after all. So we'll just combine these two to get efficiency 5. Add mending to that. 13 levels. I mean, we may as well do it on like a fully repaired set of shears, like a full durability set of shears. That's got 230 on it. But like, they're only made of iron. No, you can't put protection on Elytra. You can only put Unbreaking and Mending on Elytra. It doesn't count as armor. Doesn't have any armor durability. Armor points. Lavender Mama, thank you so much for the 19 months. 30 seconds left on the hype train, folks. Get your bits and subs in now, if you're interested in doing them. Just joined from Pearl and Ollie destroying a lush cave. It sounds like them. That's good. Hope they're having a good time. Okay, so we've got this wonderful tome. And there goes my anvil. But that's fine, because now I can run this and get the fastest glow lichen in the West. I need so much glow lichen, this is so handy. And once the dispensers start to click differently, we know we've run out of bone meal. Yeah, there we go. Oh, that was swift. I like it. Muggins TTP, thanks so much for a brand new tier 1 sub to the channel right at the end of the hype train. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Look at that. All of that. We harvested all of that, and we only lost 28 durability on that set of shears. That's chef's kiss. Gonna throw the glow lichen in here because that's where I've been stashing it for the time being. And in the meantime, we have a looting 2 book and an Unbreaking 3. Already got Unbreaking 3 on the sword, of course. Those shears are something else. Those are going in the special box. Did I name my copper aging machine David because Tango named his copper aging field on Hermitcraft David? No, other way round. Tango's chat suggested the name because I came up with it. Or maybe they just thought of it themselves, but I'm pretty sure some people said that they suggested it because I'd already called mine that. I called it that on Empires Season 1, which was before Tango did it. Either way, my copper farm predates... My copper aging thing predates his, but it doesn't really matter. Like, it's a pretty basic joke. Not the most original joke in the world. How much to put looting on this? Another 13 levels. Okay, I guess we're spending 13 levels a whole bunch today. I could try and get Sharpness 4 on another book, though. Don't think I have that anywhere. I was saving a looting 1 book just in case I got it, but that's really not worth saving now. I might as well just stick with Sharpness 4. Doesn't really matter that much. I could just upgrade this entirely by having it... by upgrading it to a netherite sword. That would work. Anyway, those can go back in there, and we're looking a bit better. Yeah, this is David the 4th. David 4.0. Hi, friend. Can you improve the efficiency of the glow lichen by like 33% by placing 1 block to the right so you have 3 walls and the floor for glow lichen to grow? It'd still use the same amount of bone meal, so I don't think that would necessarily improve the efficiency. Maybe the time efficiency, but the thing is so fast that time efficiency doesn't really matter anyway. But it also depends how fast the dispensers can bone meal stuff compared to you picking it up with efficiency 5 shears. So I don't know. Haven't tried it. But my guess is that it wouldn't make much of a difference. So, the entire thing is now active from, yeah, you can as you can tell, doing pretty well with oxidizing all this copper. We need 18 blocks. Do David and Grumbot hang out on the weekends? That's an interesting question. Considering that there is no Grumbot in this universe, according to what Grian said, then, I would be surprised. We're all good to go. And what's coming in next? I'm trying to look at for what our next return is going to be. I think there's one over here that was waiting on 1 copper block. Yeah, there's one down the end that's like only just got to the weathered stage. Which is pretty funny. But, oh yeah, there might be one over here as well. Maybe. I don't know. Could trade Pearl her copper for a dodo? I could, if she's not interested in building with it. Is Hermitcraft and Empires merged? Well, Hermitcraft has come to visit Empires. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. This is not any kind of permanent thing. Like, it is presumed that the Hermits are going home at some point, but I'm not going to tell you for certain when that's happening because, like... It's all part of a big storyline, and I don't want to just spoil it for everybody. I mean, they didn't get isekai'd. Like, isekai doesn't begin with somebody stepping through a portal that they know goes to somewhere else. And also, I feel like the, a lot of the flavor of isekai is that people are in a strange fantasy world that they don't know what happens, whereas the Hermits have immediately come here and decided they want to play the game better than us. So, I'm pretty sure that's not how that works. Yes, they have to leave. Tango hasn't finished decked out. Exactly, like... Ultimately, this is just a big fun collab for us to do, mid-season for them to give them a bit of a break. But yeah, it's pretty clear that nobody is going to expect them to be here for the remainder of the season or for Season 9 to be over or anything, right? Have I done more dungeons in the server recently? No, some of those are on hold for now just because the hermit thing is taking priority over everything else. And I wanted to do this because it was fun. But I've been doing a bit of building of my own. One of the things that is difficult about my role as the dungeon creator on the server is that I don't get as much time to build my own stuff, and then other people's bases get like way ahead of mine, and I feel like I'm playing catch up a little bit. But I've taken that on myself, like that's my own problem. But I do kind of like being able to get a bit of building work done around here, you know? Doc just casually recreating the perimeter on Empires. To be fair, I don't think he would be able to in, like, I mean, unless they stayed here for a lot longer. You know? A lot longer than anyone's expecting them to. Because, yes, he did all of that stuff in, like, what was it, like 18 hours or something the perimeter was done, but, you know, before that he had to collect all of the resources for it, and apparently right now he's just, like, taking care of his kid by himself because his partner is away somewhere. So, yeah, something tells me he's not going to get that done. And then, to be fair, like, he might just create a perimeter and then the hermits go home. And then we're just left with a giant hole in the ground that nobody's doing anything with because he's barely done a whole lot with it on Hermitcraft. So what are we supposed to do with this giant pit? Just realized I'm wearing the clothes from my Minecraft skin. It's the other way around. My Minecraft skin is wearing my clothes. I had these first. Alright, we just got coal in there now, so we are all coppered out. So I'm trying to work out what I'm going to do for decoration down here, because there's a couple of conditions that need to be observed. First of all, here is my thinking, because I'm using light grey glazed terracotta. Yeah. I'm using that throughout the rest of the catacombs here, and one of the properties of glazed terracotta is that it does not pull... slime blocks and honey blocks cannot pull it. It is unpullable. So if I wanted to decorate this area, an area where right now we have slime blocks and honey blocks, one of the ways I could do that whilst not restricting the slime blocks and honey blocks is to have some glazed terracotta designs over this part, right? And obviously those aren't lining up particularly nicely, so I'd probably do something a bit different, right? But I could do something like that, and then these would still be able to slide around without it either moving the floor or stopping the things from moving at all. It does fit with the calcite and prismarine, which is kind of why I'm going with this as a color scheme. If I could do something like this. Which way around would that be? Like this? No. Like that. Yeah, okay, cool. So we've got like two archways like that. We're always going to be able to see through this because the whole idea here is that these buttons are accessible and that you can see what stage the copper has got to. RIP Impulse. To be fair, I don't know if you guys have seen what the hermits are cooking up over there, but there's a lot of scaffolding to fall off. So I'm kind of not surprised. So I think we'll go with that. I think we will go with that. And we'll try and build some stuff around it that helps that fit in every 4 blocks. The scaffolding is breaking a lot of health and safety guidelines. As long as the scaffolding itself doesn't break, 'cause that looks like it'd take a long while to put back. But yeah, like, there will come a point where we're going to spoil stuff by having it appear in streams and videos because there is no alternative. So if I end up seeing any of the Hermit stuff, like, don't worry about, like, spoilers or whatever, because the fact is it's just going to be showing up everywhere anyway. They need it to move fast. And yeah, Joe's going to be streaming from it because he records his episodes that way. There'll be a lot of people over there, so don't worry about it. Yes, as Fwip would say, they're called exclusive previews. Impulse's stream with Green yesterday was so fun. I missed that. I was away at the time, I believe. Let's go with 8s and 7s, I suppose. I need a bit more light grey terracotta, so I'll need the dye for that, but that should be pretty easy to get. Does the Chromia die cart sell light grey? I feel like he's more just like all the colours, but then if he's selling dyes in general, then might take some frog lights over to trade.
Well, that's just prime.
Polar Void, thanks so much for the 4 months of Prime. Welcome back. Thanks for making a community post about the stream. That's fine. I do that every time I go live if I remember to. But yeah, I get the sense that a lot of people are going to come over from YouTube who don't know I stream on Twitch. I've seen a few people say that in the past, so figured I might as well make a habit of doing community posts. Which way is Scott again? I mean, he's right by Joel, so... Oh, this would be the one. Amazing that he's the one who doesn't have a carpet leading to his place. Despite the fact that he sells all of the different colours of stuff. Where is his little caravan? Here we go. Aha. And light grey. Ooh, perfect. Perfect. How much do we think, chat, for a stack of frog lights? I'll leave some pearlescent frog lights. That seems appropriate. You reckon a stack of frog lights for a stack of dye? Does that seem reasonable? 1 to 1? I think so. Let's leave it like that. There isn't like a pay in the chest model or anything here, right? Yeah. 1 stack for 2 stacks of dye. Well, he's left them in like little 1s and 2s, you know? Alright. BRB. Oh. Off they go! Ollie just like flinging himself through the air. Love some light grey terracotta. How's the copper machine coming along? It is redstone complete. I might still add a couple of things to it. Hey, B-dubs. But the the interior needs, like, decorating, and I need to figure out the user manual for other people using it. Because I've given Grian a walkthrough of it already, and he seemed to find it pretty usable, but he was like, some of the others might not. Of how Ollie's wings are a musical instrument? Yeah. He does fly through the air with the power of law. Alright, we're going to do a quick switcheroo here. Get some levels back in the process. Wow, that was quite a lot, actually. And we'll do 4 of those. Oh no! Well, Flip does need to reset the end. That's what we've been telling him. And he's all like, when I have time. When the server isn't busy. I'm like, the server is always busy. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Now you're in wing debt, yeah. How we find it with the hermits on Empires? It's great fun. Like, pretty much always somebody online, even in the mornings when I usually get on and there's nobody around. Like Azuma and Grian and a few other folks will just like pop out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh, wow, okay. It's actually active. With 13 people, like, I can see why Hermitcraft likes having a larger cast. Like, 13 people is good for planning, like, group events and stuff like that, because we don't have to get absolutely everybody on board. Like, with a certain amount of people, there's always going to be a couple of people who, like, can't make it or whatever, right? But with 13 people on the server, it's still pretty quiet some of the time, and we can't always be on, like, at all times of the day, you know? So I think it's really nice having a bunch more people on all of a sudden, because it's what it feels like to be on a much more active server. Not that Empires is inactive, but we kind of have to plan stuff if we want, like, big collabs and whatnot. And basically everybody on Empires has something else that they do. Like, I've got Survival Guide when I'm doing that. Fwip has his hardcore series. Mythical Sausage has various things that he does. Like, Lizzie and Joel always have, like, one-off things that they do and, like, 100 days challenges and stuff like that. Gem has Skyblock. You know, basically everybody's got, like, a secondary series. That's, in some cases, it's their primary series, and Empires is just, like, a side project they have. But, yeah, it means that people aren't always just kind of online for the sake of it because it's their main gig, you know? Yeah, and different time zones and everything else, you know. It sort of works out that way regardless. Is Empires as geographically diverse as Hermitcraft in terms of, like, the players, or in terms of where we all have bases? Like, in real world terms or in Minecraft terms? I should probably start lighting some of this up as well, because some of these are going to be dark enough that they might spawn mobs. I'll need to move the roof a little bit. The ceiling is a little tight up here, but... How am I doing this morning? Doing very well, thanks. Yeah, not too bad. But yeah, in terms of geography, most of our players are in the UK or the US. Whereas Hermitcraft has, like, Keralis in Sweden, Doc in Germany, Pearl in Australia, a bunch from the UK and the US. There's, like, a couple of other people from different places. Iskal from Sweden, obviously. So there's like a few more diverse groups of people on Hermitcraft, but it's typically the way it works with content creator SMPs like this, is that there are a great deal of us who are just from the US or the UK, like primarily English speaking. Yeah, Etho from Canada. Yeah, I mean, Gem's from Canada in our case, so, like, yeah, we have a couple of people who are from, we'll say, North America versus the UK. Yeah, we have an Australian alumnus. But then Pearl is on both servers, so... Who's the most active member on Empires? Probably the Sausage or Joel, maybe Fwip. You just look at how big their bases have gotten and you think, yeah, they're probably online a lot of the time. And it's surprising how little I see them online, but I think they maybe just keep different hours to me. I mean, Fwip definitely does, and Mythical Sausages in the US as well, but, like, I don't see Joel online as much as you'd expect, but his base is just massive. He just builds like a mad lad. Do I think Minecraft needs a food update? I don't think it needs it. I think one would be nice. But frankly, food is one of those things that, like, because this is a survival game in some aspects, you feel like should be more important or more diverse or have more mechanics tied to it. But I think people overestimate the amount that the survival aspect of this game matters. I'm much happier doing stuff like this where it's like, yeah, whatever food I eat for working on this redstone contraption is largely immaterial because I'm treating this more like a sandbox than I am a survival game, you know? I saw somebody leave a comment the other day, I forget on whose video, it might be one of mine, it might be somebody else I was watching, but they said that it'd be really fun if the folks from Hermitcraft and maybe us from Empires ended up playing another kind of crafting survival game like 7 Days to Die. And my problem with that is that 7 Days to Die has much more of the survival game element to it than the creative side, than the sandbox element to it. And I feel like I just wouldn't get on with that at all. Like, I've had problems with stuff like that in other survival games, like when I played Pixark for a while, which is kind of modeled on Ark Survival Evolved. It even has that blocky Minecraft aesthetic that they're going for, but it's still primarily like a survival game. You've still got to like refuel torches and make sure you're eating the right sort of food, otherwise all your food rots and that kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't vibe with that. I don't vibe with that. I find that very few people want to play hardcore survival, not talking about hardcore the game mode. Yeah, like, if you're talking about stuff like RL Craft and Terra Firma Craft and the ones that have a more in-depth survival progression or a survival mechanic, like, you know, you've got to constantly be aware of your body temperature and make sure you drink water and all that kind of stuff. Like, I can see why they didn't bother implementing that stuff in Minecraft, because A, it might get a little bit too labor-intensive and complicated for the younger players, but also you end up with the problem of it being too much work just to have fun. I don't find the survival aspect of this game nearly as fun as I find the sandbox aspects. Yeah, you limit the amount of ways there are to play if you end up enforcing stuff like that on players. The problem with adding more food to Minecraft is what stops players from defaulting to the best food all the time. Exactly, which is why people suggest like a food update in the sense of it overhauling the way food in Minecraft works. But I'm not sure what I would do differently about food in Minecraft that would be better than what they have now, with the exception of maybe like buffing certain types of food so that they were more viable in survival versus like, you know, having extra status effects applied to some of them and stuff like that. That's sort of what they did with Suspicious Stew, but in most cases the status effects just aren't all that usable because they only happen for like 2 seconds at a time. Nobody wants 2 seconds of night vision when they're caving, you know? But yeah, something like the Stardew Valley food system where you end up with like a speed boost for 5 minutes or something like that. On the one hand, it wouldn't be too bad. On the other hand, it would kind of like remove the need for potions, you know? So Minecraft already has a few of these systems in place that just... Is that correct? I can't tell from this angle. Minecraft already has a few of these systems in place that just don't make sense if you change food to work that way. Yeah, that doesn't look right. I placed that last block wrong. Liara with the 50 months. Thank you so much for the 50. Welcome back. Lovely to see you as always. Hope you're well. Wait, that is right, yeah? It just looked weird from underneath, I think. That was the main problem. Anyway, we just got this line returned, so we can put the last of our copper in here. Potions are underused because they're inconvenient to use. That is also true. Oh. B-Dubs has Goku hair now. In his new role as the Sun God. Use potions to craft food. Like infuse the potions with a little bit of... a little bit of... Or infuse food with a little bit of night vision potion or something like that. Did B-Dubs come through the rift? Not with the initial group, but he seems to have been stuck in the rift for a couple of days somehow. And then he emerged out the other side and joined the rest of us. Using the allay only really makes sense if you're collecting a lot of copper at a time, I feel like. But it does collect up the occasional blocks that I miss. Which I'm kind of happy about. Am I going to sell copper aging services? Not really. I'm just going to let people use this if they want to. I feel like if I sell something like this, like fun though the contraption is to use, I kind of expect people would just go back to placing their blocks in a big field. Has B-Dub seen the capital? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think he's been around here. I don't know what he's like recorded of anything though, so... He might be streaming it instead, I'm not sure. Oh, Tango's on. I feel like I haven't been on with Tango all that much. Why is David called David? It's a reference to David Copperfield, the Charles Dickens character, or the TV magician, depending on what your frame of reference is for it. But, yeah, the name pops up here and there. But initially it was just a field that I... like a big open space that I placed all the copper in by hand. And so obviously the David Copperfield joke came up, and since then I made David 2.0, which was the mechanized version, but the name stuck. Tango's back to his icy skin. Was he different before on Empires? I didn't realize he changed it. David Copperhall, yeah. Something like that. Alright, the rest of that should be done smelting now. He had a different skin for a bit. I think he had... I mean, I'm familiar with his normal skin. Am I excited to get more technical players on the server as the Hermits? Well, yeah. I mean, they're doing a lot of stuff over in their Empire, which is like large-scale farms and stuff, which is going to be fun. I think this should be enough to cover the areas that I've been working on in there for now. Did I see the new snapshot changes? Yeah, there wasn't too much that I was super jazzed about. Like, you can use hoppers with chiseled bookshelves now, which is kind of the biggest change, but my problem with chiseled bookshelves is still that they, as far as the redstone functionality goes, they're going for something unique, but the unique thing only works if you can interact with a specific slot on the bookshelf, which is something they don't seem to be implementing, as far as I can tell. I really hope that they do, because I think it's a much better mechanic if it works that way. But I feel like if it works the way it's currently slated to work, I think they just need to have them measure capacity and not what shelf you last interacted with, because it's kind of awkward to use as a mechanic that way. See, I don't think they do need a GUI if you implement it so that you can look at a specific slot of the bookshelf. Like, I think you can still use them as a natural object if they're implemented in a way that allows you to target a certain quadrant of the block to pull out a specific book. Like, yeah, it helps if you can look at which books are enchanted and stuff in a UI, but I feel like having a UI for it just makes it like a fancier looking dropper or something at that point. Like, I don't think that's necessarily the smartest solution for them, or at least the one that keeps the character of the chiseled bookshelf that I think they're trying to instill right now. They have dropper support. It's an easy book filter and gold trading farms. True, yeah. Like, if you can use them to filter stuff, then that's definitely an improvement. But I still feel like for the layperson, the people who aren't as like concerned about the specific use cases like that, I still think it's better if they behave a little bit more logically. This is part of my my problem with fireflies, and people saying like, oh, it'd be fine if they still added fireflies as just an aesthetic mob and not food for frogs, is that like when people saw them in game, their first instinct would be to try and capture one of them in a bottle and use it as a light source. But then when you couldn't do that, people are just going to be like, well, what's the point of them? I kind of get the sense that chiseled bookshelves are going to be like that, where like, yeah, you can interact with them and it's cool and all, but if you try and use them as a redstone component, which is one of the major selling points of the feature, it doesn't work the way you expect it to work. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, okay, cool. Gamers are never satisfied. It's true. And like all of this is just what I'm trying to do is provide some constructive feedback to help them make the game better. And this isn't necessarily where I'm expecting people to listen from the dev team, but I've also talked about it on the podcast, and I'm sure there are like many threads on the Minecraft feedback site about this, so I don't think that it's necessarily a communication issue here. Best way to give the developers some feedback is just tweeting something and tagging Minecraft in it? I doubt that, actually, because that must happen in such a huge way, and Twitter is not a great platform for broad discussion compared to something like a forum where people can justify their suggestions in greater detail, or, you know, the forum creators, in the case of stuff like the Minecraft feedback site, can structure things in a way that makes it easier for them and isn't just them using an existing system like Twitter. It, like, the amount of junk they must get on Twitter to begin with is, I think, prohibitive to them having a constructive discussion over there. And they can have discussions with individuals, but not with a broader community. And as we learned from the results of the mob vote this year, it's pretty clear that the majority of the community is not on Twitter. because nobody expected the Rascal to do as well as it did. Because all of the polls on Twitter had the Rascal placing dead last with, like, you know, fraction of a % of the vote some of the time. Not sure what I did there, but I did something. No, seems like I haven't disturbed that circuit. Putting some... I think it's just something else coincidentally moved at the same time I placed that block. Justice for the Rascal. That's the thing. The Rascal has not been wronged. The Rascal lost a fair vote. It didn't even lose as such. It came runner-up, which I still think is pretty good. Really wanted the Rascal so we could abuse its power and make farms. That's the thing. One of the clarifications they made about the Rascal later was that it would teleport away after you used it so that you wouldn't be able to make farms. After it dropped an item for you, it would basically warp away like an Enderman. And yes, there'd be parameters to that, so there might be some ways it could be exploited ultimately, but then the stuff that you were farming, if you could farm it, probably wouldn't be all that good. Again, this is all speculation, but at this point, I think I've got a fairly decent read on how they like to implement features. Farms for getting efficiency 2 iron picks, exactly, right? Like, you get that stuff from villagers now. It was interesting to be on the Bedrock server voting things, seeing so many Steves voting for the Rascal, right? Ah, but now they can be 7 other things besides Steve and Alex. It warping away was to avoid early game farming, which I agree with, yeah. And there are plenty of good ways that it could have been implemented, I expect, but I'm quite happy with the result. I think the Sniffer's going to be fun. Big surprise, historian character wants ancient mob in game. But no, I think it'll be fun. With the Rascal, people had a lot of fool's hope for the loot table. Well, people are doing the same thing with the Sniffer still. People still want the plants to be something other than decorative, even though everywhere they've advertised anything about the Sniffer, they say decorative plants. But I'm fine with decorative plants. I think stuff like large ferns and small drip leaf, I don't use either of them enough, but they are some of the better looking additions to the game in terms of decoration. Organic decoration. What kind of plants are they expecting other than decorative? There's people who have, like, ideas that they can be carnivorous plants and they work in mob traps, or that the plants could end up being, like, you know, new sources of dye for the dye colors that aren't already provided by plants, and, like, other bits and pieces like that, you know? We have a couple of people write into the podcast. We get, like, listener emails. We do a listener email segment on the podcast every week. And a couple of people have said stuff like, you know, what if the Sniffer drops a thing that interacts with the Echo Shard and produces this whole new strain of plants and, like, useful crops? And you know, what if it grows rice and that kind of stuff? And it's like, all of these are really cool ideas, but I don't know that they are going to do that, you know? I like the idea of it being a gateway to new crops in future, because anytime they want to add a new plant, basically they have the option of having the Sniffer be the origin of it, instead of it having to be part of world generation now. They're giving themselves more options. but I don't expect that to be part of the Sniffers' initial offering, you know? What do I think? Scar's ideas for flowers? I don't recall them because ZloyXP watches Scar for the recap, so I don't catch all of his videos. But I think whether it was prompted by Scar or somebody else, there were a lot of people talking about the potential for that looks weird, but I think it's right. The potential for there to be like multiple flowers in the same spot, kind of like the way you do with like sea pickles and stuff, right? Yeah, that's wrong. Placed those the wrong way around. There we go. And the way we get around that on our server is by Fwip having his resource pack on here, which grows plants differently depending on which block they're placed on. Like, it kind of randomizes the plant design. So the poppies can occasionally have, like, between 1 and 3 blooms on them, but that's like location based, so it's consistent with where you place the block on. You can't have as much control over it as you would if they were placed like sea pickles. Coral is great for denser flowers. Yeah, coral's alright. I think the having to place it next to water is always the deal breaker for coral as plants. There's obviously ways you can get around it. I did some in Pixandria last season. Cluster placing. That's a good way of putting it, yeah. Argentum Imperio, welcome in. You'll fit in well around here with a name like that. What am I working on today? The stream says David. Yes, this is David. David is this redstone contraption. It is my redstone-based copper spreader that allows me to age copper as fast as possible. And I need to do better at lighting. But we'll probably incorporate some frog lights into this somewhere, since I need to use them more in this area. Icefire, welcome back. Thank you for the 3 months of Prime. Yes, it's David Copperfield. That is the joke. Thank you for making Jimmy not tear down the bedroom walls. That's fine. Doing a public service, as always, making sure the history of the server is preserved. It's kind of my role here.
Well, that's just prime.
NJ, thanks so much for the Prime sub. A brand new sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Okay, well that's all of the pushable parts now decorated. So, yeah, hopefully that shouldn't cause any more problems. And we can figure out where else we can decorate around the edges here.
Well, that's just prime.
Fire Sun with the 8 months. That is just prime. Thank you so much for the 8 months. Joe's stream broke. Oh, sorry to hear that. So, like, based on the rest of this, what else can we do decoratively? This just looks like hectic right now, but I kind of like it at the same time. I think these sections are going to be glass or some other kind of lighter material. We effectively need like a floor section to go in the rest of this. Muggins, thank you for the 2 gifted subs. I like seeing the redstone too, but I also want to make sure this contraption feels a bit more user-friendly, and part of that is in concealing the mechanism.
Well, that's just prime.
Or at least, like, making the mechanism look a bit more tidy so that people aren't overwhelmed just looking at it, you know? I've also got to make sure that when people fill this thing up, they don't go any further than the yellow wool, so people aren't placing blocks on that observer. But they are placing blocks on this observer. So there's a few things like that I'm like, how are we going to take care of this? Dad After Dark Gaming, thank you for the Prime sub. The problem with raising the middle where the wool is here is that there's a flying machine that goes down the room collecting stuff, so I can't have anything that's going to be in the way of these 4 blocks. Basically, like this 2x2 tube here, and obviously the blocks to either side where the copper gets collected, has to stay open. So, like, I can put slabs above this. I can build on, like, this level here, but I can't build below that central piece of scaffolding. So I put, like, slabs over the top of it, for example, which is probably what I'll do. Manlycraft, we're not working on the redstone aspect of this now. We're mostly looking at aesthetics. Alternate black and yellow wool as caution tape. I don't want it to feel that industrial. Like, I don't want it to really allude to real-world design that much. I want it to feel a bit more fantastical than that. Lightning rods as metal pipes might be too much of a steampunk look. I don't know. I think, like, it could work. The other thing about using stuff like trapdoors as well, because trapdoors are great for stuff like this because they're nice and thin, but there are enough redstone parts in this that I'd worry about them getting activated. Like, redstone current flowing through certain parts might just flip the trapdoors up and down constantly. Could put a banner that indicates they can't go past it. Problem is the banner would have to sit on one of the blocks that actually needs to be filled up with resources. Although, we could hang a banner from, like, the glass point here, and then you could still place a copper block there. So that might actually work. That wouldn't be too bad. Because, yeah, I could do something like... This is going to look awkward because of the way the trapdoor's placed, but... Could do something like this, right? But I sort of think we want to have, like, stairs here and then have it go up. Have this be something that you can walk up and down kind of smoothly. And then do we have trapdoors over the top of this? Like, does that... Hello? Does that feel okay? Because the observers aren't going to power those, so that's not going to... No, the problem is I don't want to put too much other copper around here, because having other copper around does affect how fast this stuff ages. If it's fully oxidized, I don't think it will affect it that much, but yeah, like I don't know if I like that so much. Like prismarine we could match with this. Like that wouldn't be too bad. Like if we had prismarine bricks. Waxed copper wouldn't affect the aging? I guess. Don't really want to use all the copper on this machine, though, because there's so much of it. But if we did something like prismarine blocks... The problem with prismarine brick stairs is that, like, the side texture doesn't match with this texture, that doesn't match with this texture. It's just, like... It's weird. Warped wood I find too dark and, like, a little too noisy. Warped stem trapdoors. I don't like warped trapdoors all that much either, because they're not very symmetrical. I'm very picky, it turns out. But, like, do we want to go with something like this? The other interesting thing I've noticed lately is that lighting, especially in an area like this where there can be lighter spots and darker spots, really affects how green blocks like prismarine and weathered copper look. Prismarine and spruce works well together. It's not bad. Yeah, my other thought was having dark oak planks in here. Or deep slate, or something that would be like a really high contrast. I've got a fair amount of dark oaks, so... Good opportunity to bring dried mud bricks into a build. I prefer that for the surface than for down here. I'm actually using mud as though it's mud, or it's bricks that have been trodden on a lot and worn down over time. So I have a specific use case for those. Let's make a few stairs, let's make a few slabs and see which of those we like better. No, I think blackstone's too much. Blackstone's too dark. I don't like the texture of most of it. It's got its use cases, but it gets a little bit noisy. We want something that leaves this glass visible, so I couldn't like blend this down with slabs or something like that. That wouldn't work, because we need to be able to see the copper through that. In Pixandria, in Season 1, I just had a big glass roof over the entire thing. Like at this height. But I sort of like it being more streamlined than this, because you don't need to see the entire thing at this point. Now you're just thinking, what if we had glass slabs? How are you going to push the buttons? Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. We need to have access to that. So we could do something like this, where it was like a tube here. That doesn't cut off any of the redstone that we have already. Doesn't feel all that natural to press, but frankly, we shouldn't need to press it all that frequently. Upside down stairs for the buttons. You can still press that. You have to be quite deliberate about it. But then again, I suppose that makes it more deliberate of an action. And I don't mind that. I can't put anything the blocks below the flying machine either, because they would be picked up by the slime block there and the one on the opposite side, and that would prevent it collecting all of the copper on the way back. In between here, we could just make this a flat dark oak floor, because there's nothing else here that needs to be tinkered with, right? But then these feel like weird floor ornaments that way. Could use barrels underneath all of that, but then that adds another, like, 5 million containers to this space. That's the other problem. The problem with giving this more of an arch is that, again, you sort of lose the glazed terracotta parts in that. Andesite goes well with glazed terracotta and dark oak. We can give that a try. Gotta try and connect these to the side of the button. Magenta glazed terracotta is a must. I considered that. I did strongly consider that. I don't think I have enough glazed terracotta.
Well, that's just prime.
Skid Row, thank you for the 4 months. Yeah, I don't know. This is too chill, I think, for me. Like, I'm just getting a real hard maybe out of this. Love them to add a woodcutter so we can have one-to-one stairs and planks. Yeah, I think people have been doing that just with, like, data packs and stuff, changing the crafting recipe. Somebody said polished basalt, we can give that a try. Somebody suggested andesite too, we can give that a try. I might use quartz, but I also want this machine to feel like it's a little bit older, and so the quartz wouldn't really work if it's... I mean, it's got calcite and stuff in it, but calcite still looks like it could be a little bit grubby. Kind of want this to be grubby. So we kind of line it with basalt pillar like this. You could maybe still have these on the inside. Polished basalt is just my block this season. I'm just using a whole bunch of it. The dark oak blocks are a bit too warm of a color, maybe. Maybe change the terracotta to furnaces? Nah, I've got so many other furnaces in here already. And furnaces, like, I do have a lot of cobblestone right now, but they get expensive when you're making that many of them. And just adding 4 furnaces to each of these. Yeah, the redstone for this is already done, Bosom. It's already done. The, couple of things I might add to it are some kind of indicator light to let people know that one of these rows is currently in use. Because the one problem I had, I showed Graham this the other day, and there needs to be a stronger indication that this area is, like, full up so that you don't end up triggering this observer the rest of the time and, like, messing with the counters. But, yeah, basically something that says do not use. Which, you know, you could have something that retracts this piston. Am I going to rent out the base to others on the server? I'm just letting people use them. I'm not thinking about, like, charging them money or anything.
Well, that's just prime.
Shadow, thanks so much for the Prime sub. Brand new sub to the channel. Enjoy your emotes and your sub badge. Welcome to the Pixels. Green will break anything with a button. He's been pretty good with it so far. Yeah, I didn't have too many more trapdoors in here. Why is everyone timing subs perfectly? Yeah, what if I labeled every button on this begin? Do we use sodium? Yes. Lexi, thank you for the raid. Welcome in. Alright. What mods do we use with sodium? Don't really have a great way to show them all here.
Well, that's just prime.
But indium, iris, continuity for connected textures, replay mods, I think the server has either lithium or phosphor loaded server side, just to help with whatever those help with, like lighting updates and stuff. But yeah, there aren't that many. Stev, thank you for the Prime sub. Yeah, if I put like a no entry banner here or something. Yeah, should we do something more like deep slatey or diorite-y or something? Like, it feels like it almost needs a not a pattern, but more texture. Like if it's a combination of like diorite and stone brick and stuff. No lore beyond this point, right? Fazoo, thank you for the 100 bits. I'm doing alright, thank you. Assuming you're talking about me, you could be talking about somebody else, in which case I've no idea. Go ask them. But yeah, if we do something with andesite. Like, we could fit some quartz in there. Blackstone is a little too dark. We maybe want to go, like, deep slate bricks. Maybe deep slate tiles at its darkest. And, like, stone bricks maybe too. Let's have some natural stone. For the custom textures, you notice some weird MBT data. Do we use a server-side mod to assist with the custom textures? Yes. We have an Empire's SMP custom mod that's coded for us by a separate developer who just works on that, and it just allows us to implement certain stuff about the way our custom textures are applied to the mobs, villagers, mounts, items, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I think we're going to forego the dark oak for the moment in favor of more of a stone aesthetic. I still like the trapdoors here, and we don't really have many options when it comes to trapdoors. Is there something in there, or is that just like... I thought for a second I saw a bee floating around in here, but I think it might have just been the streaks on the glass, just like faking me out. We'll turn a bunch of these into stairs. Let's get like a bunch of those. Maybe we'll get some polished diorite stairs as well. Maybe some stuff like this. But then, like, that can go a little bit with the quartz. And then we have a little bit of stuff like andesite, stone brick. We can get a little lighter here and there. Where it goes darker. Obviously, yeah, we need to make sure that elements like this are still accessible. Is this recording for the next video? No. I don't tend to record anything on stream. Sometimes I'll do time lapses and stuff, but in this case, not so much. In fact, let's go back to andesite and then diorite for this. so that we can be at least like a little consistent with the diorite connecting to this. I know we haven't done that here, but it needs to do that for the gradient to get a little darker. It does feel a bit more natural that way. Again, looking at it up close, it just looks like a connection of, like, here is all the blocks, but what does the button do? The button advances the counter by 1 in case there is any instance in which, let's say this block here, if that aged fully and hadn't been ejected from the machine, it would be because one of the blocks of copper that we put on the flying machine aged before it reached this little holding area, which is rare, but it can happen. So if we notice a block of fully aged copper that's just still being held in there, like if it's oxidized copper but it's still back in the machine like this, you just have to press that button until it ejects, because that would hold up the rest of these from being returned to the central collection area. Alright, I'm feeling this. I think maybe we'll do something different with the wood, but for now the wood can stay because it's not really doing much. Stone and mossy like the rest of the ruins. No, I think it doesn't need to be too mossy down here. I want this area to feel quite dry in a weird kind of way, because partly it has the Pixandria sort of vibe to it, but also, like, much as people make a big deal out of the idea that copper erosion should be like rust where there's water involved and stuff, right? Like, I kind of like the idea of it being a dry process somehow. I don't know. It just feels better to me that way. The wood seems a bit too refined. I mean, we could probably texture the wood a little bit, like add some other stuff in there. But yeah, I think that will work for us. Got a ton of regular deep slate in there, but not a great deal of cobbled deep slate, unfortunately. Was digging out a lot of this room with Silk Touch. The new stair gradient is great, thank you. I think that's working out quite well for us. How long did it take to create David for the first time? I didn't really keep track of how long it took, so I can't really tell you. Let's see. We'll grab 2 stacks of this, because we'll need them. You have to leave copper out to dry in Minecraft, so I guess it makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, it's doesn't change it if there's water involved in any of the mechanics. Hello, early raiders. I'll wait for the official notification on that before I start celebrating. There it is. Hello, Pearl. Hi, Pearl. Are you still online? You want to come and see my dodos? I still think you need to ride the dodo to have the full set of, like, weird mismatched stuff from everybody's empires. Because I don't have any kind of custom weapons and armor and everything yet, so you'd have to use, like, the custom mounts. Thank you so much for the raid, Pearl. Welcome in, raiders. My name is Pixlriffs. I'm here on Empire's SMP, like everybody else you've seen today, probably, because I'm pretty sure Azuma raided Pearl, and Joe probably did as well, so... There's, yeah, you can ride the dodo right now. Come on down. I want to find your way to my empire. What is this? Who's been leaving holes in my floor? I'll patch that up with andesite, so it's slightly different, but still kind of the same. My inventory is so full of junk right now, but it'll have to stay that way. Pearl said she had to sleep, though. I mean, yeah, you can go to sleep if you want to. But, you know, the dodos are still going to be there. I'll unmute myself just in case. Don't know if you're coming from the nether or somewhere else. I need at least 1 rocket to get out right now. Yep. Mm-hmm. I have 23, if that helps. Mad Rose, thank you for the 6 months of tier 1 in advance. Oh my goodness, that's a commitment right there. He has no rockets right now. Well, if you'll tell me where you are, Pearl, I can drop off some rockets for you. She lives at Scott's, which is maybe far. It's not that bad. And Scott's portal goes straight to the nether roof, and you come out at mine. Oh, she's found me. There she is. I wish I had the spyglass. I need to bring the spyglass. She peeking. Hello. Hopefully this won't be too loud. Might need to adjust my speakers. Hello, Pearl. Hello.
You look a lot better without those sunglasses on.
Pearl.
Yeah, that's much better. Hi, you've got
Hello.
a friend. There's a visitor
Let
here.
down your hair.
I can let up my hair. Ow.
Oh. Yeah, those are some interesting fireworks you got there.
Oh dear, are you trying to kill him?
This is
I mean,
war!
if he is, he's not trying that hard.
No, I'm playing.
Eat it.
What? No, I was just showing Pearl my sunflower burst.
You've got a very stylish looking crossbow there, dude.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this is just, just for worshipping purposes, not murder.
You know, one of those worship crossbows.
Yeah.
Is it a new crossbow?
Yeah, my daddy Eddie made it for me. Look how pretty.
Ah, that's fine. I need that crossbow. Can I?
Yeah. This one? No, I gotta make more. I'll make you some. I'll make some. I'll make them.
I want
I'll
another
make 'em. Oh, look, Pix. I am now part of another
Oh,
religion.
you got the... Hang on. My inventory's so full of junk. Let me.
It's official.
There you go. Yeah.
That's useful junk, though.
I mean, it is. Yeah, true.
Did I steal one? Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, look at these glasses.
It's fine. I've just got like
You need
containers that I'm
you
throwing
need
on
to
the
get
ground.
on board with this. This is a fun religion.
I mean, I don't know. I feel pretty free right now. You know, I like being free, not restricted by rules or anything.
I need to observe the religion right now. 'Cause
Oh
it's getting
yeah.
dark
Oh,
around
I
here.
gotta get in trouble if they see me not doing it. Sorry.
Hey. we've doubled
No,
up.
I'm gonna get in
You
trouble.
can't
I'm
get
gonna
both
get in
of us.
trouble. The sun god is
Interference.
watching us. The sun god is watching us. No. Sun god,
No.
please. No, the sun god. He's gonna get it. He's gonna come after us. No. Run. No.
This is so difficult.
Please.
Well, all the stuff I threw out is gonna
God.
despawn.
No.
No. Papa
Pearl,
P-dubs,
Pearl, there are
Papa
creepers.
P-dubs. Don't.
Creep. Okay, kid sleep. All right, creepers. Yeah, I don't like creepers. It's fine. Kid sleep.
Papa
Oh my
P-dubs
goodness.
will shut up over here and smite us.
I'm surprised I didn't pick up any of those beds. It's tempting.
Oh, perfect.
I like messing with you guys. So Dodo, you got Dodo, right?
I do
Oh, yeah,
have
go
Dudo.
right that Dodo.
Dudo?
Enjoy.
Dodo.
It's a fun
Dodo?
time.
Dodo?
I have one.
Dodo?
I have one in my place. I'm looking after it while Corrales is away.
Yeah.
Oh, are you giving out Dodos?
Corrales has decided to basically loan one in exchange for him building a farmhouse over at my Froglight orchard.
Oh.
So
Yes. You can purchase one for
I'm
free.
offering free Dodo rides, but Dodo purchase or
Oh.
long-term loan has to have some conditions attached to it, probably.
Oh,
Yep.
I would be interested in the future, maybe. I need to be the most mismatched person in Empires. That is my new goal.
You're doing very well with that so far. I think.
Yeah. I had a couple taken away with me. Ollie had to take
Yeah,
back
I
his stuff.
figure Ollie
so-
wasn't going to let you have his loot
Yeah,
forever.
You're sanctuary
No.
now. What you have?
Yeah.
What else do you have?
I'm actually all Sanctuary at the moment, but
Yeah.
like, of course, I've got Catherine's like axe too.
Oh no, you're not
Scott's
supposed to
gonna
talk about
make
that
me
one.
a hat.
Shh. You're not supposed to talk.
It's-
Catherine's
I
secret
mean,
axe.
it's just an axe. Like it
No.
doesn't necessarily mean any axe. It's just
No,
an
she
axe.
doesn't have. She has a regular axe. She doesn't have a huge battle axe that kills.
I
monsters.
never said what kind of axe it was.
Yep. Oh. Oops.
Why are you talking about a special axe? Sausage? Is that something that
Sorry.
I don't know about?
I know a lot of gossip, and I
Sausage?
sometimes say it without my mistake.
Yeah, I'm definitely not mismatched at the moment. I'm actually just all Sanctuary right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was the most mismatched it could be before, though. All right. Ow. Oh my gosh. Sausage.
That's
This
just
is
a loving,
some,
a loving explosion of sunflowers.
some aggressive worship happening right now.
Oh!
God.
All right, let's see this dodo.
Enjoy your
Yes,
dodos.
come this way.
I'm going back home.
Okay,
Bye.
bye sausage.
Adios.
Is there
All right.
another one there? No, that was sausage. All right, let's see.
Come this way. Come this way.
You got a creeper on your farm. That's very dangerous.
Yeah, they're fine. Yeah, just chilling.
Can you
To
lit
be
up
fair,
enough?
I
Ooh.
need gunpowder. With the amount of like the poor lackluster gunpowder farms that we had on this server for a while, I've gotten used to just letting creepers spawn around here so I can collect gunpowder myself.
Oh no, that's dangerous. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bridge over there as well. Look at all this.
Yeah, this come up this way. This is Ratio Road. This will get you a decent view of the Froglight
Ratio
Orchard.
Road. What is
Yeah,
the
it's-
name
it's-
for?
It's
What is that
modeled after the
referencing?
golden ratio, which
Oh.
like I just decided.
Oh, that's
to
like
plot
the
a
big
curve.
spiral thing, right?
Yeah, based on the golden
Yeah.
ratio, where it's like a 1 to 1.6 ratio or something.
Oh.
But then I realized that I'd ratioed myself, so I just decided to name it that way and left it be.
Fair enough.
This is my Froglight Orchard, so this is like the little farming district of the Empire. Farming is very important around here. And
Dodos.
my little flock of dodos is down there. I had to kind
Oh.
of keep them attached to the fence post, otherwise they would just wander off and like fall in ravines and stuff because they're not very bright.
Oh.
But
Oh dear! Don't tell me you've
yeah.
lost some dodos to that giant hole down there.
the giant hole down there might be part of the reason I decided to like tie them all up. But
Oh,
yeah, they're
no.
hitched in a safe place and they get to munch on the leftovers from the Froglight trees.
Oh, fair enough. It's a very pretty orchard. I like this.
Thank
I
you.
like it a lot.
Yeah, I decided to blend each of the Froglights with the different types of leaves so that I think your favorites have got to
Where's
be
the
the ones that are
carrots?
named after you.
Wait, I've got. Oh yeah, the purple
gotta-
boys. Yeah.
you gotta have these
Oh,
ones.
thank you.
Actually, we may as well get you the
Yes.
achievement. I've been getting the achievement for everybody else when they come and visit. So grab
Okay,
those
sure.
two as well. Yeah, there you
The
go.
powers combined. I will
get the
snap the whole
fanfare and
server in
everything.
half.
But,
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah, you can have that as a free takeaway, little produce from the Froglight farm.
Little produce. Beautiful orchard.
But,
Thank you.
um,
And I get a free.
yeah.
I feel like I'm at a carnival right now. I'm getting everything.
Yes, this is probably the current star of the flock. This guy with the saddle right here. So
Oh,
hop on
gonna-
board and have a ride around.
I'm on top of him. Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Whee!
There you go.
Oh, he's
that one's
so
actually
nice.
really fast. Like I think
Yo.
when I was testing all of them, I think that one doesn't have great jumps, but I think it's probably the fastest and the healthiest out of all of them.
Yeah, he's so speedy. Wait, let's test the jump.
you really go on
Oh
that
yeah,
thing.
the jump is really not.
Yeah, the
Oh,
jump
he
is
can
like
make two
he
two
can
blocks.
do 2 blocks.
It's
Like
alright.
Winchester is my boy. He's like a little bit slower than this one, but he can jump like 3 blocks, 3.5. So I kind of go for a good
okay.
all-rounder.
Right, yeah, all round is pretty good. I mean, this guy's super speedy. If you're doing races, dodo races, no.
Yeah,
We'll
I
win it
have
for sure.
considered setting up a dodo racetrack. I wasn't allowed to compete with him in the pig race that we had right before the hermit showed up here. So
He should have been able to compete. This poor dodo missed out. No, I feel like I just want to keep zooming around at this point. You know, so much so that I'll be into the sunset. You know, I'll just be off here. I'll be into the sunset.
No, come
now.
back, Pearl. Pearl, come back. Bring back my dodo. He's my boy.
I can't take that from you.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely have to hook you up with a dodo when you come here for a more formal visit with a video recording happening and
Yes.
stuff. But
I've heard there's some things I need to see around here. So
yeah, it might be a little bit. There might be some capital L lore happening around here, but
yes. So I will come back. That's for sure. I mean, I'm
Yes.
pretty sure we need to do a clip, right, at some point as well,
yes,
in general.
definitely. Yeah, I'm kind of collecting hermits right now. I think I've maybe seen about 8 people so far.
Oh,
And
you got a lot
need
to go.
Yeah. So there's still a few bits and pieces. I still haven't hung out with Tango. I haven't hung out with you except for this. And yeah, there's a couple of other people, and obviously like Corrales and Doc have been on holiday and stuff. So like yeah, it's a little bit more difficult to get some folks. But yeah, Grian's been by and pushed all the buttons on my machine that I'm working on, and
Of course, that's
yeah.
what Green would do. Yep.
yeah, but he's using it to age his copper now, so he understands how it works, and he's
Oh.
not broken anything yet.
Didn't realize there was a machine to age copper. I'll admit.
Yeah. It just spreads it apart so that you don't have to place the blocks manually. You just put them all in a line, and the machine does the rest for you. You want to come see?
Oh, I would love to. Sure, why not?
All right, come this way. Do you still have fireworks?
You know what? I'm gonna go at a burst of yellow right now.
The explodey fireworks.
Gonna
All right,
shoot some
come this way.
sunflowers behind me.
Yeah.
Ow.
That looks so funny in just like
Just
watching
being
you
a
fly
sunflower
around.
queen. I'm gonna
If you
die
fly
soon.
close to me, can you actually damage me with the explosion?
Hold on. I gotta make sure I'm not dying yet.
I'm trying
No,
to keep
I think
up.
it's too late. Yeah.
It's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's
come
gonna
back
be
down
too
this way.
difficult.
It's under the statue.
Statue that I'm not looking at right now.
Hmm?
It's the statue that I'm not looking at right now.
Yeah. Don't look too hard. Don't look too hard. It's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, come on down here, and it's left and then left again.
Okay.
And
oh my gosh,
I'm gonna
you can
have
get
some
lost
kind
down
of.
here.
I was considering building a secret staircase down to this, but I kind of realized that it was like everyone's gonna know about this anyway, so it feels like it's fun for immersion, but it's not really that practical that it's a secret anymore.
That's okay. We like things for aesthetics. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes.
This is complex down here.
I'm working on the decoration, so yeah, right now on stream we're just working on like some of the aesthetics for this to make it look like less like a jumble of redstone.
I mean, I think a jumble of redstone looks pretty cool, if I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I love looking at redstone. It's like seeing the inner workings of a piece of technology. I love it.
And if it's like repetitive enough like this, I feel like it looks kind of organized and there's some beauty in that.
Exactly.
It's not like all
Yeah.
spaghetti redstone, but yeah. Anyway, I can show you how it works with.
Let's see it.
Let me go grab some copper from upstairs because I think I still have a couple of blocks that need to age.
Alright, I'll just be down here for a moment.
We've got I've got like 4, but I can use some cut copper because that still needs to age as well. You know you can get 4 cut copper blocks out of 1 copper block with the stone cutter now.
I do, yes. I use the stone
Yeah.
cutter all the time for copper. Otherwise, it's just a waste
Yeah.
constantly.
It's basically saved all of the roofs and stuff that I'm planning on doing because I really need a lot of copper for some of this stuff.
Oh yeah, Mojang definitely fixed the whole like builders wanting to build with copper thing. They're like, all right, let's just make it completely OP in every way. Then after
Yeah,
that, they've
let's-
given us fortune on it. They've given us full veins. They've given us the
all of
ability to
the
split into 4 blocks. Like
Extra
yeah,
generation in dripstone caves and everything else.
exactly. Yeah, it's just OP now. There's no problem with getting copper.
So all you need to do to fill up this machine is start on the yellow wool block and then walk backwards until you've filled up the wool, like that.
All right.
And then from this yellow wool block, you fill it all the way up until it's on top of the observer on this side.
Okay.
And then you should hear like
so
a couple
it's
of
one
clicks.
extra block.
Yeah. So it's 9 blocks on each side, but they're like offset by 1 because of the way the slime block flying machine is built.
Right.
but
Yeah.
then
Okay. Gotcha.
If you press this button on top of here to activate the redstone lamp,
I'll do it.
then it goes down the room
Ooh.
and each of the circuits will just grab a copper block as it goes past.
Oh, that's so neat. So it's just it's based on observers. When they see it go over the top, they'll grab one and just keep going.
And then that isolates it in the circuit, so when the rest of the blocks go over that observer, it doesn't do anything extra. And then the observer facing into the side of it detects it getting put in there, and that adds 1 to the counter. And then each time it ages, it adds another 1 to the counter, and by the time it's fully aged, it ejects it all from the system, and the flying machine comes back down the line and collects it all as it goes.
Oh, that's awesome. So
Yeah.
you can almost yeah, that's huge.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
so you don't have to do all of the, like, count 4 and then place the next one, and then count 4 and then place the next one.
I was
and
too lazy for that anyway. I would just build out of it and let everyone
Yeah.
who's nearby just age it for me.
Yeah, that's the other way of doing it. But, like, yeah, if you want to come back and wax it when it's at a certain stage and everything, like, all of that stuff I always found kind of a pain. I guess you just come back and hit it with an axe a few times, but I liked there being, like, a redstone solution to this was just kind of a fun little project.
I think any redstone solution just makes it in general fun. I used to play in the past where I just play survival. I just build empty buildings everywhere because like I just wanted things to look cool. And now
Yeah.
I would need and want a purpose for every building that I make. Like it's got to be something inside it. There's going to be a reason for it. So now any reason to put something inside that building? Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. And yeah,
So this is
that's
wonderful.
the trap I fall into now is like trying to come up with a solution to like something needs to be built in here, and then I feel like I don't build enough because of that. Like I'm always looking for more things to have in there, and then that means I don't end up building
oh my
enough
God.
things because they don't have purposes.
Oh wow. Yeah, jeez. That's going great. I love it. I love it.
The LA seems to like you, by the way.
He
Just kind of-
does. Hi,
His
buddy.
eyes are following you around the room.
Oh, hello. He's cute. Why is he down here? Why is he tied up like this?
I've decided that if we have like a large-scale harvest, so like if all of the machines return at once, like if you're AFKing it and you just want to like grab all... This room does like 180 blocks. So if you want to break all of them, I think eventually I'm going to have the allay here so that you can just give him an oxidized copper block and then he'll collect all of the stuff that you miss. So you can break it like from above, even it doesn't go into your inventory until this guy delivers it to you.
Right. Is that enough like of a radius that'll cover this full area for him?
Yeah, I mean,
it's like 16 blocks or something, wasn't it?
I'm going to take him off the fence post for a start. But then once the copper starts falling on the ground near the player, he'll come and pick it up. Like, as long as you've given him the block, he knows to deliver it back to you. And
right, yeah, okay, fair. I'm thinking like automatic farm for some reason.
Yeah, no, like if I give him a copper block like this now, and then I'm like down the other end of the room, he's gonna follow me anyway. So after a while, he'll notice that he's a certain distance away from me, and he'll just like skip over here to catch back up.
I think he wanted to hold hands with me for a second there. Took him a while.
He's just like, are you my friend?
Just go and pleasurely walk.
If I go down here and I throw a block on the ground, he'll detect that there's a copper block on the ground near me. He'll like immediately come over and pick that up, and then he chucks it to me. So
yeah. I love the allays. I think they're so much more handy than people might realize, to be honest. Like I made a full automatic wheat farm with them in my hardcore world.
Yeah, so I think I did something similar. I ended up using them for wheat farming and bits and pieces. The fun thing is having like 5 or 6 of them and go strip mining. You're clearing out an area and you've got one collecting stone, one doing gravel, one doing andesite and diorite and stuff, and then you have them all going back and dropping it all at a note block, and it just like boxes it all up for you.
Absolutely. Don't they have to be is it like 32 blocks between them and the note block though to be able to
so you kind of do it in a radius, but then you've got a 50 block radius for a beacon anyway, so if you're using haste you're kind of stuck to a specific area.
Yeah, you're probably going to move it anyway.
Just walk back over to drop off all of the, I don't know, redstone ore and stuff that I've been getting.
Yeah.
He's a good little man. No. He does the job.
There we go.
Wink.
Leave that one back again.
Gone?
Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Just so he doesn't end up flying up the staircase, because he'll get lost in the catacombs up there if he.
He will. He will disappear and you won't find him again.
Just be listening to like the ghostly sounds that he makes all day.
It's a cute little noise, though. To be fair.
It is. Well, I'm glad I've been able to show you that on stream, because I feel like all my footage with everybody else has just been, hey, come look at my copper thing, and I'm just like, I've got 7 or 8 different versions of the same thing, all with different people.
Yeah, repeating the same like content when the audience have already seen it as well. I tend to try and avoid that too. So yeah,
it's just fun giving everybody a tour.
You've got a certain other big thing you could show me when I come visit.
Yeah. We got some stuff. We got some stuff around here. I also need to give you the texture pack that's got like a painting in it, but we'll deal with that near at the time.
Okay, gotcha. Problem solved then. All right, well, thank you for showing me. I appreciate that, and thank you for the dodo ride as well.
Yes, yeah. Come back when you've got even more mismatched stuff, and we'll add you to the dodo, and we'll just take a big screenshot of you with like a bit of everybody's empire. Yeah,
that sounds good. This is my goal now. I had no idea what I was like really fully attempting to do for this whole thing, aside from lore.
Yeah.
So this is a nice little fun
objectives,
thing,
right? You need like.
This is gonna be cool. I love that. I love it. I mean, originally it was gonna be a bit of collecting the axes situation, but yep, everything now. Collect everything.
Yeah, I wish I had like more custom tools and armor and stuff, but I just have I have boring netherite axe. That's all I have.
Aw, that's okay. I have this one for now. That's fine.
You got fancy axe.
Yeah. Okay, I will leave you to it. I won't take up any more of your time. But thank you for that, Pix. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll see you soon. Thanks again for the raid.
No worries. Catch you later, Pix.
Bye. All right. God herself has visited the stream. I think we're good. How are we doing in chat? Anonymous, thank you for gifting a sub. Tadpole Milk with the 20 months. Black Steel with the 14. I think that's me all caught up. Thanks again, Pearl, for the raid. We also had Burt Potato with 14 months around the same time. I think it's just... Oh, there's a couple of people online. Scott got online a minute ago. Yeah, I think this is good. I think this is looking all right so far. Am I going to make custom wings? It's not about me making them. That's the problem. We've got an artist who's working on this stuff for us, and they're very busy. So I would like to have stuff like custom wings. I kind of want to have custom wings that are like the dodos up there, like dodo wings, which would be hilarious actually, because dodos are flightless, so they probably wouldn't work all that well. But yeah, I would kind of like to have blue wings like the dodo style. But again, like our artist is just really busy with other stuff. Axionim, thank you for the 20 months. Yeah, hopefully Pearl wasn't echoing too much. Sorry, I have this annoying habit of streaming with my speakers on. I need some more polished basalt. There we go. Will I be doing a tutorial video for the copper machine? There already is one in Survival Guides. Survival Guide Season 2 has a two-parter, basically, where I designed the original copper machine, which doesn't have all of the age detection stuff, and then I added in the age detection. And in that one, I required a lot of cake between the comparators here, but you can substitute the cake for anything else, which, when it is detected by a comparator, gives an output signal strength of 6. So in this case, a furnace with 5 items in the fuel slot and a full input slot, using something that isn't smeltable, like dirt in this case, or alternatively, smelt stuff but then just don't take it out of the output slot, it just reads a signal strength of 6, and that's what balances the signal strength from this dropper, making sure that this comparator only activates when there are 4 wooden shovels in the dropper. So when the machine is counted to 4, that's the only time it will activate. Cryptodis, thank you so much for the 20 months. Another 20-month resub, back to back. Thank you so much. But yeah, like, the cake can be substituted for a furnace, or composters can give you a readout of 6 if you just, like, fill them up 6 layers. There's a lot of other stuff that can do it. A lectern with a written book is another good example. There's a variety of ways you can do that that do not require you eating over 400 slices of cake in the service of this ridiculous project. Yeah, no, we could totally imagine that the dodo wings aren't necessarily just like a pair of dodo's wings that I've clipped off or something. Like, they would be they'd be feathers from dodos that I'd put together. Cake might have been easier if you'd had villagers. Yeah, no, I got a lot of the cake from farmer villagers in Survival Guide. I didn't make all of the cake myself. But it's not so much the acquiring the cake that's the problem. It's having to eat that many slices of cake, because you need to have a signal strength of 6, which means you need to eat all but 3 slices of the cake, because each slice is like 2 redstone signal with a comparator. Yes, Fossil, you can still eat 400 slices of cake for fun. Just don't blame me if you get sick. Someone asked how the meetup with Scott and Shovel went IRL. It went very well. It was really nice just hanging out with them. We had some good coffee, good conversation. I would like to do that again. In Sarah, oh my goodness, with the 10 gifted subs, thank you so much. Welcome back. As always, folks in the chat, if you get gifted a sub, please make sure you thank these very generous sub gifters for doing what they do. You can also use composters. Can't remember the amount you need off by heart. I think just 6 layers of compost would do it. I think composters, they just do it based on the level of compost, but it won't go all the way to, like, maximum signal strength, which makes sense. I kind of like it when they give you something that's got a maximum output. Like, item frames will only do 1 through 8, right? Let me just check up on a couple of things. Nice. Yeah, useless rogue. Pearl raided us right after this. Or right before this, sorry. So we are enjoying the company of a few extra people today. And thank you to everybody who stuck around for the raid. It's always lovely to have some new folks in here. You're all very welcome. And if you are new here, please feel free to drop a follow. Check out the Empires series, because I am uploading it pretty regularly these days. Should be another episode out tomorrow, as long as I have time to edit it this evening. Still need to do a little bit of like narration and stuff, just to make sure everything flows nicely and fits together. Got a couple of visits from Cub, a little bit with Grian. Azuma shows up at one point. And I've got a bit of building in there as well, because despite the fact the hermits are here and it's kind of all hands on deck to help them out with some stuff, I do want to get a bit more of my own building done here and there. So you might have seen a little bit of it as I was flying around, but if not, no worries, you'll see it tomorrow. What do dodos eat? Golden carrots. It's primarily their favorite food. Me too, so, you know, I occasionally hand one over if I'm feeling generous. Yes, got to catch all the hermits. Absolutely. Obviously, I saw Cub in the previous video, but yeah, nice of him to stop by. I saw X. I still need to see Cleo. I haven't done a bit with Hermit False, but obviously False on Empires is a different one. Yeah, who else? Like I mentioned Tango already. I need to get Pearl on camera to do a bit. Hang on a minute. Let's do a regular stone stair here. That's not that. There we go. And then let's go back to andesite and then diorite there. That's fun. Yeah, fun, funky little design. Spoke to Gem and she's playing the same character in both worlds. Yeah. Yeah, there's a few of them that I've already got bits with, but I do want to make sure I get to hang out with a bunch of them. I'm curious what B-dubs will end up thinking of my place, because he and I have pretty similar ideas in terms of the inspiration for what we're doing. A lot of the stuff he's built on Hermitcraft has seemed very Elden Ring inspired, so yeah, I am curious if he'll dig what I'm doing. But obviously, you know, every builder wants to hang out with B-dubs, right? Now, I didn't see Scar yet. Yeah, there's a few of them who I haven't got to catch up with, and Scar is one of those. Do you know who built the rift? It was you. Will you have a behind the lore about it? We're not going into details like that because I think it kind of spoils it for people who are just getting really into the fun aspects of the collab being a thing. So I'm not going to say too much about that. Let's go diorite here, diorite there. If I got the design done for the bridge entrance to my empire, the gatehouse is still where it is. The houses behind there have started to take shape now. I've actually got a couple of things built there at this point. There we go. So now we can have a bit of shadow here and there in the room, despite there not actually being physical shadows in a lot of it. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I like it. Mm-hmm. Still not 100% convinced by the dark oak wood, but we'll figure that out. It may just be like we mix in some spruce wood and it'll look okay. It doesn't need to be super detailed either. Like this kind of gradient down the side is nice. It helps with the shadows and stuff, but we don't need to worry too much about that. Let's throw some of the wood in one of these so I'm not gumming up my inventory with it all the time. I think we'll need some more polished basalt if we're going to do this on multiple rows. We've done that side already. We're going to put some glow lichen on the glazed terracotta, maybe, yeah. Well, that would help with lighting. Many people suggested dead coral. Dead coral's just such a pain to get in large quantities, though. And we have an event coming up with Love Tropics, for which we are going to be using a lot of coral, and so I need live coral for a lot of that. To be honest, like, the detail of dead coral won't be that noticeable. I could just use tough if I really needed to. Get that similar aesthetic. For some reason, when they arrived, I half expected the hermits to move inside the bridge. I feel like the thing about building in Minecraft, especially if you want to build something spectacular and you want to build it in a short amount of time, is that you've kind of got to build on the surface. I think that's something the hermits are dealing with now, where a lot of the stuff they built was kind of underground and tucked out of the way, but for it to really make a statement on the server, you've kind of got to build stuff visible on the surface. Sad to be missing the Love Tropics event. Hey, no worries. I mean, you can still contribute to a good cause if that's what you are interested in. And I'm sure the VODs will be up for a good while if you missed the stream itself. I'm sure they will not mind if you want to make a separate donation. Just to break the fourth wall quickly, who built the rift? We're not discussing that. Because some people don't want to break the fourth wall. There are 2,500 people here, and I expect some of those will be happier not knowing. So yeah, that's all been aged using this setup now, and I'm really happy about that. What is the Love Tropics event? So Love Tropics is a thing that's been organized in the past by Corey Cheviak from the Mojang team, by Kojo. He's been a long-time environmental charity campaigner, and obviously cares a great deal about the environment. And he and a team of people have previously worked on a mod called Tropicraft, and around their mod they decided to set up a charity stream called Love Tropics, which raises money for a conservation charity working in the tropics, helping to raise awareness of environmental issues of environments in the tropics which are in danger. In particular, stuff like this year is Project Seagrass is their cause, where a lot of seagrass habitats, which are really important for ocean wildlife, are, you know, getting damaged from, like, warming water levels and acidity in the water and all kinds of other stuff. And so they are looking to help out a conservation charity that's helping study the effects of that and repopulate seagrass environments. So obviously that's something that works really well in Minecraft because we have seagrass as part of the game, and so one of the incentives to donate is going to be if you donate $5, if you know you can just give $5, then we'll take 5 pieces of bone meal and we'll bone meal this ocean area that we're going to be building in, so it's absolutely covered in seagrass. And so yeah, like, people are going to be working on the server to build up this ocean environment. There's going to be a bit of tie into the Empire's stuff. We're going to be building effectively like an ancient underwater empire that's just been lost to time. And it's not just going to be directly referencing Lizzie's Ocean Empire from Season 1, because that's not really our story to tell, but I like the idea that it's got maybe some kind of loose connection to that. So yeah, we're going to be building some stuff on the server. We're going to be building some little bits of coral and spamming seagrass everywhere, maybe building a few underwater houses. Basically our own version of one of Minecraft's existing, like, ocean ruin structures. And maybe it'll tie into other people's lore on the server. Maybe it'll just be a cool location for us to visit somewhere. We'll see. Seagrass absorbs more CO2 than forests. Exactly, which is why it's so important to have it as part of our natural ecosystem. Will there be a collection system for the aged copper? He's down there. This little guy. I've had 4 allays just flying around my base for the last little while, and I really want them to be put to work down here. But honestly, with the setup the way it is, having, like, piston feed tapes and stuff to remove all of the copper once it gets returned and send it to a blast chamber, it's just so much extra redstone. Like, I might redesign it in future to include stuff like that if I feel like it, but I'm not going to do it on this server. And that's also, like, you know, TNT duplication and all the extra mechanics that go into that. I just decided not to bother with it. Name the allayed David. That's quite funny. Oh yeah, I wanted to turn some of this polished andesite into stairs as well, didn't I? Maybe we'll do that. You lose copper in blast chambers? Yeah, you don't on Java, because on Java it's... TNT will drop 100% of the items it destroys. You only lose stuff if it's mob-based explosions, like ghasts and creepers. And maybe end crystals as well. But TNT drops 100% of the items it destroys. It doesn't work that way on Bedrock, unfortunately, but they just added some game rules that change some of that, which is really exciting, actually. I am quite keen on the idea of there being a little bit more player agency over that stuff. Does the sheriff have rules for duping? He doesn't, no. His rules are mostly concerned with whether or not you wear people's hats. Does the machine work on Minecraft Pocket Edition? No, probably not. Because flying machines work differently on Bedrock Edition. And a lot of the redstone connections here, while they theoretically could work on Bedrock Edition, they might also have different timings, and different stuff would be possible on Bedrock versus Java. So unfortunately I can't make any guarantees about it running on Bedrock. People's mostly means the sheriff's own hat? Correct. Yeah. He is, after all, people. Brassy Chassis, thank you for gifting those 2 subs and for the $10. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. Hope you're having a good day. I think we got all of the buttons taken care of there. Didn't seem to mind too much about Tango wearing someone else's hat. Well, he can't get mad at his rancher, can he? When I use all my hotbar with the blocks being used, I'm just like a stickler for having all of the tools in the same place. Like, it just means I have to rearrange all of this stuff afterwards, and pick block is really useful, so I can alternate between each of these if I have the blocks nearby, you know? So I don't have to open my inventory and close it all of the time, but I can select some of these without ever having to open my inventory or move any of my tools around. Yeah, no, the fly machine design won't work on Bedrock, because while the observers facing down into slime blocks is better for Bedrock than the observers facing sideways, which only works on Java because of quasi connectivity, the fly machine would move randomly because Bedrock Edition doesn't have the same kind of way of processing redstone events as Java does, and so the what's called the update order is much more random on Bedrock than it is on Java. On Java, it's more consistent, but on Bedrock Edition, if 2 events happen at once, the game will just randomly choose one of them, which means if you try and make a flying machine like this, it goes forward a block, and then back a block, and then forward 2 blocks, and then back 1, and then forward 1, and then back 1, and it just kind of, like, it doesn't provide any kind of consistent motion. Brusty Chassis, thank you so much for gifting another sub. It's very kind of you. I guess more trapdoors, huh? Yeah, let's do that. I'm just gonna place all of these for now. These don't have to be trapdoors, I guess. I think it might help to actually place something there that's temporary but easier to break afterwards, but maybe like dirt blocks or something. But if we want to make sure all of the trapdoors are facing the same way, then we can't just place them all side by side, you know? How about different characters from David Copperfield for the Allays? I don't know the novel that well. First we had confusing doors, now there are confusing floors. What are you, Dr. Seuss? Would you age Copper in a box? Would you age Copper with a fox? Get one of Lizzie's villagers in here and we'll find out. Any indications that this crossover is attracting new viewers who don't watch Hermitcraft or Empires? I mean, only in the sense that both of the series naturally attract new viewers in general. Like, I don't think anybody is watching this who wasn't previously watching Hermitcraft or Empires just because there seems to be a crossover event. Or at least, nobody has told me that. Nobody has said, hey, I didn't really care about this Empires thing before, and I don't know what Hermitcraft is, but the idea of 2 Minecraft servers crossing over seems really cool to me. Like, I don't think anybody's necessarily thinking that way. But the people who are going to be most excited about this are Hermitcraft fans and Empires fans. The whole time I thought you were referencing the magician David Copperfield. Well, that's the thing. I don't really know the Dickens novel at all, so it's either, really. Like, the fact is that there's a pun on people who have that name, rather than it being a reference to a specific person or character. People who already watched both are over the moon. Hopefully people who only watch one are becoming more interested in watching the other. I certainly hope so. But really, like, I don't want to seem, you know, overly self-interested or selfish about the reasons for us doing a crossover, but I think a lot of it is just that we want to have fun. You know? Like, content creators are probably at their best when we are quite clearly having fun, and hopefully it comes across that we're having a lot of fun with this. It's been very, very cool. And it's not just because we're big fans of each other, although we clearly are. It's also that, like, having a bunch of new people around helps keep everything feel fresh for a while. And obviously the Hermits have been doing this for a while. They really know what they're doing. And they come in with a bunch of really cool ideas for what they want to do, and suddenly it gives us Empires folks a chance to react to that in a situation where our own story is still playing out, and we still have ideas for it, but sometimes it's nice to have those ideas shaken up occasionally. And obviously last season we had some pretty big events that we're not keen on just reproducing beat for beat. We wanted to do something significantly different, and the Hermits are here with an option for us to do that. Brassy Chassis with 100 bits. Boosting comment from Scotsman. Why would would you age Copper in a box? Would you age Copper around a fox? Will you age Copper in a farm? Will you use Copper to build a barn? I will not quite understand why I have all these flying machines going by. Well, thank you for sharing. We have some very talented poets in the audience, evidently. Deb Constructor with the 23. Obviously, you're both having fun, love, agree, and doing this week on Empires and the reaction. Of course, yeah. And somebody on, I forget where it was it on Tumblr or somewhere? Somebody said, I bet Impulse put that clip in his video so that they have to use that clip on the Hermitcraft recap again. And I'm like, we're probably not going to do the same joke twice. Like, I'm not saying we're above certain things, but there is limited merit to doing that joke a second time. Loved Season 1's story, but the Empire's players seem a lot more engaged with the Hermits in this season than they were with Zornoth. Well, that's the thing. Like, the Zornoth story wasn't going to be everybody's cup of tea. And the Hermits being here is real, for want of a better word. Like, it's a lot easier for us to choose how we want to play it when these are just people and they're Minecraft players, whereas the whole demon thing that required a lot of suspension of disbelief when we were, like, at all involved with that story. Like, even giving that account, like, creative mode and whatnot, like, it takes a lot to not be like, well, this is just a game that we're all playing together, you know? Whereas, like, in my case especially, like, I can be more candid this season about the fact that we're all just playing a fun game together. And it felt like that kind of tone just wasn't possible the first time around, whereas with what the Hermits are doing this season, we can just have a lot more freedom to play it however we want to play it, you know? Why would anyone expect Impulse not to include such a great clip in his video? Oh, no, nobody expected him to not include it. It's just whether or not we wanted to include it in the recap this week. And, like, while it may seem that way on reflection, the job of the Hermitcraft recap is not to be a Hermitcraft best of funny clips compilation, you know? We recap the events and the mishaps. Danny, thank you for the 100 bits. Hermitcraft watcher, and this crossover brought me to Empires, loving the fact that I have a whole new group of talented builders, creators, and just in general outstanding human beings to follow and get to know. Well, thank you very much. It means a lot to hear you say that. Is Hermit Clips tied to the recap in any way? No. And I think that's a lot more of the type of content that content creators don't like a whole lot, because it's basically somebody just taking the funny moments from their own videos and getting views off of it. And maybe they do a couple of funny edits and stuff, but the reason the recap has worked the way it has for so long is because what we do is more transformative. Like, we have our own commentary, we write our own scripts, make our own jokes, and we try and stay more original with it so that we're not just, like, repeating jokes that the Hermits made in their own videos, you know? How stable has the server been since the Hermits joined? It's been pretty good. And we have a bit of overhead on this server, and I believe our, like, bandwidth with the server host was increased a little bit because we knew that there was going to be a very high traffic period on the server. But I mean, right now there are 6 of us online. That's not entirely uncommon when Empires has, like, a thing happening. If we're doing, like, an event of some kind. Like the festival, for example, there were 13 of us online because everybody was there. And there's been a lot more of us online, evidently, when the Hermits all logged in at once that day. But we've maybe had a couple of times where if everybody's all spread out, the chunk loading gets a little bit slow. You saw a little bit of that in their videos when they were all being flung across the server, and like in Joe's video, for example, the area around Stratos loaded really slowly because a ton of other people had just been flung to different areas of the server and it needed time to have them, like, load in and everything. But, you know, that happens. That's all part of the fun. But I think overall the server's performed admirably well. How do we add bundles? Bundles are part of a data pack. They're just like a crafting recipe because they are in Java Edition code. They just aren't accessible in survival unless you add a crafting recipe for them or cheat them in using commands. It was still an impressive performance by a vanilla-compatible server. Yeah. No, we did pretty well. We obviously had the help of the server host, and we run it on Fabric and Sodium, so we get decent performance, but some of that stuff is kind of unavoidable. Performance is performance. Be interesting to see how the trade's going to be with this many people on. How many resources can people really need in abundance? Well, that's the thing. The Hermits are kind of currently putting together a ton of their own farms so they can be more self-sufficient. And it's the main question is, how is that going to affect us? Like, what's going to happen to the Hermitcraft's What's gonna happen to the Empire's economy when Hermitcraft has a ton of really cool, good farms, and we've been used to operating in like a less resource-rich environment up until now, so that things feel like they've had value. Like, what happens when it feels like the stuff we're trading doesn't have value anymore? So now we've got a decent amount of this built. I'm quite happy with that. I think the Dark Oak is fine, so I'm going to continue filling in with that because I think it's not going to look bad. And we can always swap it out later. Like, it's a few sections of material. It's relatively easy to swap out. Could the server handle all the farms? I mean, probably, yes. I mean, realistically, we're all still working on stuff behind the scenes and talking to each other, and if something looks like it's going to threaten the server's stability, we will find another way of doing that, right? The Empire's barter system makes more sense to me game-wise than the Hermit's diamond economy. You can do more directly with barter goods than with diamonds. Yeah, like I like the way we do stuff on Empires a great deal. I think that's part of why it works to have us kind of thrown by the way the Hermits trade. It's because we're not used to using anything as currency except the goods that we all produce. Right, we've still got one down there that's not aged. We've still got a couple on that side. This one's just returned. We've got one block in the... Like, this is the funniest thing about these copper aging setups to me, is it throws into sharp relief how random this process is, because every block on this row, except for one down the end there, has aged, and this one is just sat there. Like, this hasn't been waxed. Like that, if you look at the targeted block data on the right-hand side, it still says Minecraft copper block. It would say waxed copper block if that was a thing. I tap it with my axe, nothing happens, right? It's just not aging. And it will. It may be that while I was down one end of the room, I wasn't in radius for this one to age, or maybe it's just like it hasn't received random ticks yet. Sometimes, I think I've seen people say that certain blocks placed certain ways in like chunk borders and stuff, sometimes it misses those out. Sometimes like the calculations don't really happen that way, but I've not really seen any evidence to support that. And that one doesn't really, it's like a block away from the nearest chunk border anyway. It's the sugarcane plant you're watching that refuses to grow. Exactly. Like, the randomness of mechanics like this is self-evident in making this kind of redstone contraption. Also, are we missing a block on this side? There is... Weird. This one didn't reset. Huh. How strange. It's going to have to stay that way. Because otherwise, if I reset this circuit back to normal, we can put that in here and that will get collected. But if I reset that manually, then it would grab that copper block when the flying machine came down, and it'd just take and hold that and it wouldn't reset properly. But yeah, I wonder why that worked. That didn't work. It may even have been that when this was getting sent or when it was returning or something like that, the chunk wasn't loaded, and so one of the redstone things was like offset or something. I don't know. I'm curious about this. The machine still has some eccentricities. Like, in theory, it's 100% reliable, but in practice, it has been less so, and I'm curious about that. The chunk border is right there. I don't know. Maybe. Is curious. Server performance mostly. Yeah, there might have been like a lag spike or something and it just skipped one. The flying machine just kind of like stumbles past that one without dropping off a block, maybe? Who knows? Dang it, I keep dropping stuff there. So that's where I'm going to place the next set of trapdoors. But luckily, if I drop any gravel down here, it's not going to break anything. We need quantum redstone with entangled components. That's what Doc M does, right? We do have some more gravel in here. I'll go and get some more spruce wood. Server lag doesn't affect redstone on vanilla or fabric servers. Wonder what it could be then. Need my crafting tables. I always end up with like a weird number of planks for this, but somehow I've managed to get it right this time. I guess you just have to have 6 stacks of planks, right? Could have been temporarily unloaded when the flying machine came back because we were out doing dodo stuff. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Oh, we got another one. So at least we know that line is working. This one is still waiting on that block there. We'll see it all from above. Yeah, we're still waiting on that block. That one's fine. The rest of that is good to go. This one still has that block there and that block there. What's Red Brumbler say? I hope the hermits will take away some of the customization we use for objects when they end up going back. Well, they've done stuff like that anyway, right? Like, they have ZAF's Zadvancement trophies. They have Impulse's beard, for example. Like, they have their ways of doing that. They just use stuff like that differently. Like, the only thing that's really different for us is that we have our essence items that allow us to customize things using a crafting recipe or using like a item that you right click instead of just renaming stuff in an anvil. So it doesn't have to have the exact same name to look the same as something else. And we use different mods to accomplish it, but that's really it. That's all it. The only way in which it differs. And the reason Impulse doesn't have his beard on Empires is because we don't have a way of getting the way he's modeled that to work with our mods that provide that functionality. Because they do it with, I presume, Optifine and we don't run Optifine on this server. Which is, by the way, the reason our Rift looks awful. And it's kind of a sore point, but obviously when the Rift had to be on this server, we were going to design it in a similar way to the way Grian's one looks. And the layered glass thing glitches out in Sodium. Like, Sodium has a known issue where it doesn't render glass the same way that glass is rendered in vanilla and therefore in Optifine. So if you look at it from a certain angle, it looks all kind of weird and blocky and square. If you look at it northwest, I think, like that direction, it doesn't look too bad. That's why I always end in my footage of the Rift. I'm always looking at a specific direction, or I'm trying to, because otherwise it doesn't look good. Sodium renders water weird too. Yeah, it's anything that has transparency, like Nether portals is the same. Hey, Queen Kiwi, good to see you. Hope you're having a good one. So, has the music been really quiet today? And not necessarily like quiet volume-wise, but the quieter tracks have been playing. I should probably put the basalt in here first, so that I'm placing these blocks against something. Yeah, Fwip didn't write the custom mod that's being written for us by a mod developer, so that we can make changes to it as the season goes on, which is pretty cool. Like, I have some stuff coming up in an upcoming video, not the one from tomorrow, but I haven't started it yet, but there's some neat stuff that we've added in that's going to be quite fun. Neat. Hey, Crystal, I'm having a good day. Thank you for asking. Nope. Do it there, please. A great picture of me from Scott. Yeah, like I said earlier in the stream, I never know what face to make in photos. Like, I feel like my face is not naturally particularly photogenic. I feel like I'm better in motion than I am captured in still in stills photography. So I just made a big face. The Travis McElroy copyright big face. Imagine if there was the sound of a toaster every time one line of copper was done aging. I mean, it's basically the sound of 100 toasters going off at once with the flying machine going past. They're quite noisy objects. Me too, I hate pictures, but videos aren't too bad. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I never know how to smile in pictures. Sometimes I get a good one. Like, sometimes I'm happy with it, but other times I just feel like I don't know how to look. So I think it's quite a good thing that I just made a weird face. What's my favorite Christmas movie? Trying to think of Christmas movies. I don't tend to watch much Christmas movies. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of, like, holiday programming. I feel like the only movies that I associate with, like, a specific holiday is now we have a routine of watching Hocus Pocus every year at Halloween. That's basically it. And, like, the cool answer is Die Hard, but I actually haven't seen Die Hard. There's a couple of other, like, Iron Man 3 takes place at Christmas because it's a Shane Black movie, and Shane Black movies often take place at Christmas. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang does. And that's quite a good movie. I wouldn't say it's, like, my favorite Christmas movie, right? Nightmare Before Christmas and Die Hard are the only acceptable ones. See, I know it's kind of both, but I always think of Nightmare Before Christmas as more of a Halloween movie because the majority of it takes place in Halloween Town. So I feel like it has more Halloween content than it does Christmas content, even though Christmas is, like, in the title or whatever. Most of the Harry Potter movies have Christmas in it. Yeah, but they cheat, because they just take place over the course of a school year. So, of course, Christmas is going to happen somewhere in that time. And a lot of it pulls from the fact that, like, the main character is, you know, raised in a situation where he doesn't get a great deal of love at home. Therefore, him getting Christmas presents is like a big deal, which, sure, yeah. Understand that sentiment entirely. Doesn't make it a Christmas movie. I feel like they're always on at Christmas just because they're good family entertainment. All the Harry Potter movies released in December. Yeah, well, so did all of the Lord of the Rings movies. Like, it doesn't make them Christmas movies. That's just the release calendar targeting family holidays. Like, a lot of Marvel and Star Wars movies release around Christmas as well. Gremlins is at Christmas. There you go. You can have Gremlins. I'll give you Gremlins. Used to go watch Star Wars at midnight, December 31st. Yeah, I watched all of the sequel trilogy in cinema. Like, around Christmas time. Like, shortly after. Monsters, Inc. Blu-ray released near Christmas, so yeah, again, welcome to the Walt Disney Company's marketing schemes. Yeah, poor Jevin has been feeling a little under the weather. If that was me, I would just, like, wait until everything had blown over. Like, I know you gotta stream sometimes if you're like, this is how I make my money and whatnot, but if I was Jevin, I would be not too worried about streaming and everything right now. But hey, he knows his limits. He knows what he's gonna do. When I'm done creating my base, it would be quite fun if I made my own glasses in a professor outfit. Yeah, I don't know. No, I don't know if I'll need my own glasses at this point. And it's weird, like, I'm one of the few people in my family who doesn't need to wear glasses, so it always feels kind of strange, like, throwing some glasses on. It's a Wonderful Life is actually the best Christmas movie. I think I've only ever seen that because it's just been on the TV at the time during Christmas, and I've never really paid a huge amount of attention to it. I feel like the main point of contact I have with It's a Wonderful Life is that's the scenario in which one of the main characters in the TV show Red Dwarf always casts himself whenever they go into, like, a virtual reality game that they can't escape from because it's too good and the game wants you to play forever, kind of thing. Like the early kind of Sword Art Online scenario that they set up in Red Dwarf occasionally. I feel like he always casts himself as George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life. Alright, that one works. That one copper block has still not aged. Why am I flip-flopping stairs? The stairs occasionally have to invert so that you can have access to this button, because that button is important for resetting one of these counting modules if it doesn't count correctly. Like, if one of these was already fully aged, but it was still in the system, I'd have to hit that button to eject it. break it and place it again? No, because then that'll reset whatever behind-the-scenes counter it's already had. I don't think it will, actually, because it's all based on random tick anyway. But no, those blocks, they happen occasionally, and they start aging at some point. It's just taken it a while to receive a random tick. That's all it is. I've checked already, and it hasn't been waxed. Unless somebody's has come down here and done that without my knowledge in the meantime, and I think I would have noticed if they did. Some kind of stealth operation. If so, it was Grian. Yes, he hasn't been online, so it would basically have to have been somebody else. And while everybody else is just as capable of performing pranks as Grian is, I think all of them have got better things to do, frankly. I could be wrong. They should add aging to iron blocks to give more variation on that as well. I half agree and I half don't agree. I'm all in favor of like more blocks, but the unique thing about copper is that it ages, and if you start doing that with other blocks, then you lose what makes copper kind of unique, right? Will I give David Christmas decorations? Nah, I don't think Christmas is a thing on Empires. We have a different kind of theology. Would still have a unique color though. Yeah, but I feel like, what does rusty iron look like when we already have like exposed copper or whatever, like the aging stages where it's kind of pink? Been watching for a while now. I have to say the background music you put on is really relaxing to listen to. Thanks. I have very little control over it. It's all on a chill playlist from the Pretzel music player, which just provides copyright-free music that streamers can play without worrying about DMCA strikes. And yeah, I just throw the chill playlist on. There's a couple of tracks in this that I really like, and the rest of it is just like largely inoffensive, so I put it on. It's not the kind of stuff I tend to listen to when I'm not streaming, but then I listen to stuff that has lyrics and probably gets you dinged with copyright strikes if you try and use it in videos or whatever. But yeah, it's like, it's all chill, it's all lo-fi stuff. It's like half of it is written by Harris Heller. It's inoffensive and I'm fine with it. What stuff do I listen to normally? A whole range of things. Like, I have a Spotify playlist that I should really make public just so people can see my taste in music, but it's pretty diverse. It, like, starts with Annie Lennox, David Bowie, and The Police, and, like, Kool and the Gang and stuff, and goes through a bunch of more obscure, like, indie artists and rock and metal stuff. There's a bit of rap thrown in there. Like, there's a ton of stuff on it. I listen to a lot of video game and movie soundtracks as well. I've started kind of having a collection of my favorite video game soundtracks on vinyl, and I just really like having them as, you know, artifacts. They're kind of cool to have around. Need a bit more basalt. Why do I stream on Twitch instead of YouTube? Twitch is better. That's really my overall opinion about the Twitch streaming experience, is that it's better than YouTube. YouTube is kind of behind on all of the features that Twitch has ever created for its live streaming platform. And I kind of think platforms should really stick to their guns in terms of making their core experience, the whole point of being there, the best part of the experience. And so YouTube, that's video, right? And obviously, like, you have shorts and stuff like that now, which is them trying to, you know, use a similar format as stuff like TikTok and, you know, Instagram Reels or whatever. Like, basically every company tries to follow whatever the latest big thing is, and right now it's like TikTok short films. But like with YouTube's emergence as a streaming platform, I tried it a while ago. The experience wasn't great. I think their default emotes are rubbish, and emotes are such an important part of interacting with the stream chat for me, and that's kind of one of the things I like about Twitch, is that Twitch culture is like its own unique thing. When I tried streaming on YouTube before, people didn't really know how to interact with a stream. They just kept asking stuff about videos, and I was like, you recognize that I'm live right now and you can just have a conversation with me? I feel like Twitch stream audiences always seemed more understanding of the idea that this is like, it's a live format. It's going to be different to a video where the content is recorded and curated, and everything just feels a little bit more natural when you're on a stream. There's a different energy to it. Like, yeah, I have no problems watching somebody stream on YouTube. I think the chat isn't very good for interaction. I think the mod tools aren't great. And I think overall, the culture around streaming on Twitch has been able to develop in a way that it's still developing on YouTube, and maybe in time it'll become better on YouTube. But honestly, one of the main things that puts me off it is just discoverability. It's not about whether or not you can find an audience on YouTube through streaming. You can't. Or if you can, it's through sidebar recommendations. It's not through browse features like if you search for Minecraft live streams, or if you go into the Minecraft category on YouTube Gaming. It's all those, like, factory farm, you know, live streams that just put on reskinned versions of, like, algorithmically generated videos featuring Minecraft characters. You can't see any Minecraft streamers in there that are actually legitimately playing Minecraft. It's, yeah, Monster School or whatever, right? Like, it's awful, and in some cases unsafe for kids to watch and horrendously gross. And yeah, like, that means that the only way you can be successful streaming on YouTube, you can't really grow unless your YouTube channel is growing through other means by default, and people already know that you're streaming to come and find you. Unless you have somehow, like, cracked the system and you understand, like, what it is that YouTube is looking for when it recommends channels to people. But again, that's the whole gaming the YouTube algorithm thing that I find personally kind of distasteful. But, like, you look at anybody who's trying to make the move to YouTube, they're bringing their audience with them from somewhere else. Or they're just, like, foundering on YouTube. They're not able to grow unless they have some other kind of content bringing them people into their live streams. think Elsagate was no longer a thing, but similar things are still being posted and promoted to kids. Exactly, yeah. And YouTube seems to have very little they can do about it because they don't seem interested in fixing the problem. Like, stuff like that still gets views just because people let whatever thing their kid is watching roll over into auto-playing a live stream from some manufactured channel that isn't genuine. Do I think there's space for another service, a direct Twitch competitor? I mean, that's what Beam/Mixer was, and that didn't survive. Got bought by Microsoft, instantly got canned. Everybody had to come to Twitch, you know? It's the same thing with YouTube. Like, there isn't really a video competitor platform because YouTube is owned by Google and they can provide a competitive revenue share to creators, and no startup platform can do that without the business model dying 6 months later because of not being able to continue paying people out. Or like, look at what Vimeo did. Like, anybody who was using a certain amount of bandwidth suddenly had to pay through the nose for their pro plan to keep uploading the videos that had got them any interest on the platform. And I don't know how much of that ends up being, like, corporate espionage or whatever, right? And how much is just them being ill-fated. But stuff like Twitch and YouTube, at this point, they're kind of too big to fail. It's why I always laugh every time something comes up that's going to be like, oh, this is going to be the death of Twitch. And, you know, it's the same with Minecraft. Like, everyone said, oh, Fortnite is going to kill Minecraft because all of the kids will stop playing Minecraft. It's like, no, I mean, the game is so big right now. When people get bored of stuff easily, and when they get bored, they'll just come back to what they like and the stuff they find reliable. And if that's Minecraft, good. If it's something else, great. Like, people are still going to be playing this game because it's good. And the problem with Twitch right now is mainly that they recognize that YouTube makes a lot on ad revenue because of the sheer numbers YouTube as a platform pulls in, and Twitch can't compete with that, so they're trying to encourage streamers to actively play ads on their streams. And streamers don't want to do that, so they end up incentivizing it in absurd ways to the point where people, if like they play 6 minutes of ads every 30 minutes, they get paid absurd amounts, especially if they're an established partner and they can guarantee a certain level of viewing audience. But then if you have to play ads all the time, that either drives away your viewing audience or it feels like you're forcing everybody to subscribe so they don't have to watch ads. There's just like, it's none of this is consumer friendly. I think that's the biggest problem with it, is that like it's consumer friendly in the sense that you recognize that your consumers are there to be fed things that they might want. And if they don't want the things, then oh well, I guess. You say Twitch has really fallen off the deep end. There is no deep end. That's the thing. Like, nothing is going to sink this platform. Like, the idea of there being a deep end implies that there is a chance of drowning. I don't think it's realistic. What am I building? This is the aesthetics part of a big redstone contraption I built in order to space copper out 4 blocks apart so you don't have to do that manually. Because it allows copper to age in large batches like this and then return to a central location that you can harvest it once it's done aging. I like it a lot. It's backed by Amazon. Well, that's the thing. Like, Amazon isn't just going to bail Twitch out if it doesn't perform well. The fact is, like, they are still finding ways for Twitch to perform well. But the problem with businesses like this is that they keep trying to find ways to grow in their profits. And, like, the alternatives there are, like, either fire a bunch of staff or find new ways of generating revenue. And that's why they've turned to ads lately.
that's just prime.
What was the point of what, exactly? Somebody asked me what's the point of this, but you've failed to identify what this is. Are the hermits already killing the server economy? Not yet. They're still establishing farms. Hey, look, I'm helping generate revenue, and hopefully you're enjoying it. That's my main concern here, is that people are enjoying themselves. Making the copper spacer? Oh, it just lets me age copper in a way that doesn't feel tedious. And because it's a big, fun redstone project that I can do in a situation where most of the big, fun redstone projects are kind of claimed by the other empires, and so for me as an empires creator to build, like, a big mob drops farm or something kind of feels like I shouldn't be doing that because Jimmy has a gunpowder farm, Catherine specializes in mob drops. Like, the hermits are an exception, and that's kind of part of the story with them. Is that they don't necessarily have to follow our rules because they aren't native to the whole Empire's format. But if I want to build some kind of big redstone contraption, then it's got to be something that nobody else is doing, hence this. Yeah, they're the aliens, exactly, right? Would I ever build a drowned copper farm that feeds David? Maybe. Like, at what point does that require us to build something like this, but in the end, because the copper farm Azuma built in the end is, like, ridiculously productive? Did Azuma just join and you missed it? Yes. Out of all the videos out there, this copper aging redstone seems very new to the world of Minecraft in general. Copper has been around since 1.17, but people just seem content to just kind of place it manually. And there are a couple of copper factory things like this which aren't especially survival friendly, but like Pearl was here earlier and she just said, like, I just place all of my copper in batches, and when other people are around, then they'll age it for me just by being there. And that's, you know, an entirely valid approach, but you've just got to deal with your build looking a bit weird for a while. And I kind of like building with copper in its final state, like in the state that you actually want it to look when the build is all done. Would it work if it's spaced out vertically? Yes. Like, as long as the copper is kept within 4 blocks of another piece of copper, which vertically it would have to be because the circuit is about 7 or 8 blocks tall in total, then yeah, you could do that. I could build another set of these copper ages, like a block above the floor here, or, you know, 7 blocks below or whatever. But then you'd have to find a way of collecting it from up there as well, right? Also 4 blocks diagonal. Well, 4 blocks diagonal would be like, we're talking about the hypotenuse, right? So like, if it's 4 blocks diagonal, there'd be a block there and a block there, and that's more like 6 blocks apart. Is the range a cube or a sphere? It's 4 blocks, I think in a square around it. Yeah, I think in a cube. It's not like taxi cab distance, I think. I think it's the other one. Do I have a tutorial or a world download for this? There's a tutorial for it in the Minecraft Survival Guide. The only difference between those two contraptions is that this one uses furnaces instead of cake to get a certain comparator signal. That's basically it. Zero Naught, thank you so much for the 12 months. Everyone spam the word nerd in the chat, please. Thank you so much for supporting the channel for a full year. Enjoy your new nerd sub badge and welcome to the Nerd Herd. Thank you so much. Can I show how it works? Yeah. Let's see. So all of these have already returned the copper that's been aging. So that's nice and easy. I'll go and grab some more copper. We'll put it in the machine. But I'm running low on proper, like, normal copper blocks. So ideally you're putting that stuff in there because then you go to a stone cutter with the fully aged copper and then you turn one stack of copper blocks into 4 stacks of cut copper. Is there a difference between cakes and furnaces? The whole point of using either cakes or furnaces is just to get this comparator to have a signal output of 6, like a power level of 6. So it doesn't really matter whether you use cakes or furnaces, it's just what you have more access to. The whole reason I did it with cake in the survival guide was for fun. And because I could show that you can use cake as a redstone component, which I always think is a really entertaining concept. So this circuit is done aging the copper, it's ejected it all. You just gather it manually off of this flying machine. And you could probably figure out some kind of system that feeds it into a TNT blast chamber and collects it with a hopper. But I don't tend to worry about that right now because that's just a lot of extra engineering. But you fill it up with 9 blocks of copper on each side of this flying machine, which we're going to do with the cut copper that I already made. Like that. And then you press this button, and then as it goes down the line, each of these sticky pistons on each side grabs a block of copper out of this line that the flying machine is sending down the room. So each time it goes over an observer like that, it snags another copper block, stores it, and automatically stores it 4 blocks apart. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks before the next copper block is stored. And that means that it can age as fast as possible, because the way copper mechanics work, if there is any copper within 4 blocks of a copper block, it doesn't age as fast, so that you can have a copper roof that ages over time. It's really satisfying to watch, and basically these circuits on the sides here have an observer right here. Actually, let's show you that with one that's actually got a block in front of it. I'll duck behind there. Yeah, this observer pulses this block with redstone power, which activates this dropper, and the dropper is basically counting 4 times. It counts once when the copper block is inserted, and then it counts it aging 3 stages, at which point this piston comes back in, pushes that copper block out ready for collection, and when it's done that down the entire line, which is connected by all of this redstone dust, it activates the return mechanism for the flying machine. The slime blocks pick up all of the copper as they go, and they bring it down to the center of the room where the player can harvest it all, which is what all of these have done. And yeah, this is feature complete besides visuals. There's one thing I might want to do, which is to have some kind of, like, if I put a redstone torch under here, for example, like if I put a redstone torch on top of, hello, put a redstone torch on top of this block, and then a redstone lamp up there, then you could tell at a glance that this copper flying machine had returned, because there would be a lit lamp above this, and that would indicate, yes, you can harvest all of this copper again. I don't know if I would do it that way, because it might be kind of awkward to harvest the copper if there was a redstone lamp on top of it, but I haven't quite figured out where you're going to collect stuff. However, if you break all of this manually, you can have an allay collect it all for you, and I kind of like the idea of doing that, so that's probably what I'm going to go with. No, the aging doesn't speed up after 4 blocks. Like, if you place them really, really far apart, it's not going to be like... It's whether it detects copper within a certain radius, not calculating the distance to the next copper block outside of that, if that makes sense. It's a weird set of mechanics, but I like it. Kind of made it my field of study for the last little while, I guess. Should be able to remove half the furnaces by replacing them with a solid block. Comparators can read through a solid block. Yeah, I guess I hadn't considered that on account of the furnace itself being a solid block. And so I guess it's also possible that, like, this comparator could be reading the contents of that furnace if that furnace wasn't there. Yeah, I guess that actually works quite well. Well, I guess if I want 90 stacks of dirt back, I guess I'll do that. But right now they're not really doing anything that... Like, they might be lagging things out a little bit because they're a container or something, but I don't know. Nothing in this seems to be breaking the game in any big way, so I don't really mind. Like, yeah, I get logistically it makes a fair amount of sense to minimize the amount of components like that, but overall I don't find it too much of a strain. It's your empire, you can lag if you want to. Yeah, my empire's chief export is lag. That'd be so funny to do an Empire Season 3 and have my chief export just be like game-breaking stuff. I have been thinking a bit about what I'd end up doing in a Season 3 world, because we're not doing that anytime soon, but I kind of like to get ahead of the game. I like to sort of think it out, just in case when Empires 2 ends, rather, we basically decide we want to do another season straight away for whatever reason. Like, because Hermitcraft does that. Empires is very different to Hermitcraft, so I don't think it's an approach we would take. But it occurs to me that we could, and so I want to have an idea on deck just in case. It would be really, really cool and quite funny. Love when I have those ideas. It would be really cool and quite funny to do like a cyberpunk empire, but then find ways to lag out the server and basically be like, you're a hacker. That'd be such an interesting way of doing. Like, it would suck for other people is the main problem. But it would be kind of funny. Like, do I want to risk the goodwill of my server mates and my friends to do something that would be quite funny? That's the situation I find myself in, as ever. I'm going to put this away, because I don't really care for aging the cut copper. We're probably just going to use that as bright copper. And the pillagers have been here for so long. Why don't they despawn? Empire from the future lagging the server with open hoppers and clients with needless glowing signs? Yes, absolutely. God, that'd be funny. Like, I love the idea. In practice, it doesn't work, but in theory, it's a dynamite idea. And yeah, just have it all be about cryptocurrency. Yeah. Bandits are waiting for a tour of the museum. The pillagers are part of the reason I don't have villagers in this empire. And pillagers shouldn't be able to spawn around a village. But remember that one time we were on stream and a bunch of pillagers spawned in that village I was trading with? I'm like, why are they here? I don't understand. A lag machine on demand where you pay to lag. That's the thing. For that to really succeed, lag would have to have some benefit. And I don't really think it does. Like, there's a couple of mechanics that have relied on it in the past, like some of the stuff they were doing on, like, Prototech and some of those more technical servers. Like in 1.12 versions where you needed to lag the server out so that it would trick itself into dropping a block of bedrock or whatever, right? Or, like, yeah, infinite flight, stuff like that. It's just, like, none of that is worth the pain of having to deal with a laggy server. Like, you'd never be able to pitch that to somebody and have it work. Brassy, thanks so much for the 100 bits. The pillagers might be Hermitcraft recap watchers. Haha, very good. Solo Oriel, thanks so much for the 100 bits as well. King Kinnan, Noan, sorry, thank you so much for the 100 bits. We had a couple of extra bits and pieces coming through on the hype train as well, so let me quickly run back through these. Gmills, thank you for the Prime sub. Null Zell, thank you for the Prime sub. iDroid with the 3 months of Prime. Toot My Note with 100 bits. And Deb Constructor, thank you for gifting a sub. Very kind of you all. That second hype train just kind of took me by surprise, and I was in the middle of, I don't know, making a point about Twitch streaming or something. Every Twitch streamer's favorite thing to talk about Twitch streaming. Forgot this one for the button. And I think the next one over, actually. There we go. Now we're all caught up. Let's grab one of these. I think Azuma and Cleo may be about to engage in some light-hearted piracy, friends. Speaking of piracy. Let's see. I think that's all good. I think that's all okay. And I'm happy with the trapdoors being part of the floor. It does make it a little bit awkward running down this glass, but then again, you couldn't really do much with that anyway. So, yeah. Yeah, pirate lore is happening, yeah. So at least that's one half of the room sort of kind of decorated, I guess. That flying machine is empty. The rest of these have returned, with the exception of that one, which we just sent off. Let's quickly... Again, that one copper block. It is still just a copper block. Nobody has waxed it. Just refuses to age, I guess. But, yeah, these two are done. This one down here is still aging the cut copper, and we've been in the opposite corner of the room, so some of this may not have been within range, but it's looking pretty good. We've got one down there that's still in the pink stage, the exposed copper stage, and then these two are both weathered copper, so that should return pretty soon. Ace. Right, folks, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for hanging out on the stream today. We're just doing some chill stuff. I'm glad we got to show Pearl around a little bit, but we'll be doing a clip with Pearl at some point. I'm going to go and edit an episode, and then I've got some bits and pieces to do for the Love Tropics stream this weekend. So Sunday's stream is going to be a little bit different than usual. I'm going to be streaming in my usual time, but you'll find me on the Love Tropics live stream, and I'll be sure to like promote that on social and on my YouTube community page. It'll be on Twitter as well, so people know where to find me. But if you can't find me here, I'll probably leave some kind of like stream title that says it, or I'll be hosting if I can still host. I don't know how that works anymore. But either way, you'll find me on the Love Tropics stream on my usual time slot, and 3 p.m. UK time, which is going to be back to the usual 3 p.m. for everybody else in the world when the clocks go back next weekend. Thanks for being here. I had a blast. Hope you did too. And I'm sure we'll be seeing more of David in the near future. But for now, I'm going to get going and do some editing. Thanks so much for watching. New episode of Empires tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. And in the meantime, we're going to find somebody to raid here on Twitch.
Just Prime.
And that is just Prime. Emrex, thank you so much for the 11 months. So close to being a nerd. Thank you very much. Let's see who's streaming. I don't know if anybody from the server is currently streaming. Doesn't look like they are. Scott is live, but he's doing rats. You know what? Let's raid Martin, because Martin's on Rats SMP as well. And he did a really cool stream a little while ago when the Hermits first arrived on Empires, where he was watching everybody's videos, and it's always really cool to... Like, Martin Littlewood is the guy who was on the Hermits live stream helping them with, like, charity donations and stuff. And he's on Last Life and all of those kind of series, and he's a fun one. Not sure what his policy is on family friendliness these days, so use your discretion. If you're at all concerned about that, feel free to click away. But it's not marked as intended for mature audiences, and he is playing on Rats SMP. I think things there are pretty family friendly, but they're having a fun time over there. I was talking to Scott and Shelby about it, and they said they were really enjoying it. So we're going to go and raid Martin in the Littlewood. You can use your Pixel hype emotes in the hashtag PixelRaid to show some love. Oh, he is family friendly. Great, good to know. Very funny as well. Really, really funny guy. He was one of the first people I ever watched playing Minecraft on YouTube, so this is kind of weird for me to be going and raiding him after this. But yeah, stay tuned for more Empires and Hermitcraft crossover action. And until Sunday, I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.
Kind of does. I don't know how much of this is actually